move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after it. I got facts over tracks, this and that, spitting slow, spitting fast. I could roast, I could gas, think I'm okay at last, but I don't know the fact. Can erase all the past and the pettiness, a reflection of the emptiness. Hilarious, you think you're worth my time, you're delirious, mysterious, because you are behind a fake exterior. Inferior, you know I'll always be a bit superior. Get off of me, this ain't no humble brag. I want you to hear words, you can say them back. I want you to feel free from the chains that last, and to believe in what you got, it was built to last, yeah. Now that I've been through hell, I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself. I'll never slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
Welcome into the stream, you low-life worky turd motherfuckers. No views for the fake Jew. Abso-fucking-lutely. No pew-pew for the juju. No pew-pew for the juju. So Square is monetizing. He's monetizing his live streams. That's why people keep getting ads. But what he doesn't realize is once you start cussing and saying the shit that we do on live streams, you can't monetize those. So even if it starts off green, which means it's monetized, when he ends, it's going to go yellow and he's going to get no money from that stream. Absolutely none. Unless he gets super chats, which he doesn't get because he's a fucking low-life loser. Oh, boy. This ought to be fun. Who's Alex Rosen? Who is that, Kay? It seems like I should know that name, but I don't. Let me look it up. Internet personality. Oh, predator poachers. Oh, wait till fucking Square hears about that. Oh, boy. What was he arrested for? Whoopsie. These fucking weirdos, man. Wait till Square hears about that. He's gonna be pissed.
And see what his perspective and take on it is. And I'm gonna give my reaction and my take. Because I have a little bit of background from watching and looking at what all's been going on lately. Some of it, a lot of it I agree with, but there's some stuff that even I don't agree with that Trump is doing. And it has to do with, being so, like, I get wanting to get rid of fraud and all that, but I think he's going so hard on some stuff that it's going to cut stuff that is needed really by people as well. So let's check it out.
I was appointed by the guy who is precisely the reason that the Americans voted for something different. But you know what? No, status quo. And people talk about destroying democracy.
Yeah.
This is a constitutional crisis, Right. You guys been paying attention to this?
Oh, I've heard of it too.
There's a constitutional crisis.
I'm scared.
Brewing. I don't know if you know this, but there's a constitutional crisis. If you say it 3 times, then people understand. Constitutional crisis.
Constitutional crisis.
Yeah.
Constitutional.
Yeah.
The crisis of the Constitution.
Yeah, it's a crisis of the Constitution because a judge wants to be president. Turns out that he shouldn't be president, and he shouldn't be able to act executively like the president. But the left believes that one of 900 or any of the 900 judges should be able to do that. And if the president says, "Hey, no, you can't do that," well, then we find ourselves at this impasse of a constitutional crisis.
Yo, I'm gonna let this play. He's probably gonna pass out, but I got some shit to do. It's nice outside, so I'm gonna let this play, even if he passes out. So you guys have a place to kind of chat and hang out until somebody else goes live, whenever. So I'll come back and check on you guys here in a little bit.
So for weeks now, we've been exploring.
A constitutional crisis does not convey the gravity of the situation.
Oh, boy.
Constitutional crisis.
The constitutional crisis.
The Attorney General of New Jersey and the Attorney General of Minnesota both said we are in a constitutional crisis.
We're on the precipice of a constitutional crisis.
We are really in a constitutional crisis.
People throw around the term constitutional crisis all the time.
Yeah,
Now,
that term, constitutional crisis, is back.
Okay. When did it go away?
Constitutional crisis. I had a stroke today. I look like Schumer. By the way, I'm laughing so hard because on CNN, look, education departmenters get 30 minutes to collect belongings. They just showed them crying. Let's hear what she has to say.
And it feels devastating to me, you know, coming here and packing up my bags, and not knowing when I'm gonna get a next paycheck.
Yeah, that's called getting fired.
I mean, has anyone here ever been fired? I feel like everyone here has been fired at least once, right?
I wanted to hear more of her speaking improper English.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. This is some of the educational department. Hey, comment. You guys ever been fired? Like that's a part of life. It's not fun and it sucks. And by the way, we take no joy whenever we've had to fire people.
Well, I got to shoot the guy doing the button. That was fun.
We've also fired people who've shown up to work lit. And I don't know because they have a great morning routine. They've been up since 3:53. It's like, how do you still show up lit?
You're so lit. Share your
Vodka in those bottles.
But they see this as the vibe.
He said, "How do you show up lit?" How do you show up lit? Oh, I don't know if you guys heard me a while ago when I first paused it because my mic was muted. But I said, yeah, I think that Trump could have done a little bit possibly better on especially when they cut jobs, like give them a little bit more of a notice, let them make like at least another 2 weeks pay before they're let go. And I wonder if all the stuff they're slashing at and spending, like, is truly some of it all fraud or what have you. Some of them have been, even Republicans have been honest enough to say that we're not talking about Social Security or anything. Wouldn't be honest, So some of my concerns.
Violation of fundamental human rights. They see this right now as a constitutional crisis where some judge who hasn't been elected cannot usurp the authority of the president. So let me
pack my bags and go and do it then.
Yeah, I'm gonna pack my bags and go buy some Coca-Cola Classic
Half an hour.
with snap. I'm a snap.
You get 10 minutes. Get out.
So last week, President Trump called for the impeachment of crooked judges on Truth Social. This is the reason they claim constitutional crisis. I'll read this for you for those of you who missed it. This radical left lunatic of a judge, a troublemaker, an agitator who was sadly appointed by...
I love his Trump voice. Radical left lunatic of a judge, troublemaker and agitator who was appointed sadly by Barack Hussein Obama, was not elected president. He didn't win the popular vote by a lot. Oh my God. You're talking about Obama.
Barack Hussein Obama was not elected president. He didn't win the popular vote. by a lot. He didn't win all 7 swing states.
All caps.
He didn't win 2,750 to 525 counties. That was me. He didn't win anything. I just love the caps.
I know. Yeah.
I'm just doing what the voters wanted me to do. This judge, like many of the crooked judges I am forced to appear before, should be impeached. And this is one of the things people are making a big deal out of, the call to impeach. That's very unlikely to happen.
Right. But it's all caps and 3 exclamation points. So you mispronounced it. Can you please do it correctly?
Impeached.
Okay, there we go. Thank you.
So this prompted a rebuke.
I mean, they keep, though, I mean, it seems like every chance they get, somebody is forcing or causing Trump, or is, have to go before a judge.
From
Democrats.
who many people believe to be compromised, Chief Justice Roberts.
Here you have Chief Justice John Roberts appearing to push back on statements President Trump made earlier today, suggesting that a judge, James Boasberg, who of course temporarily blocked deportations by the Trump administration, or at least tried to, should be impeached. And here the Chief Justice writes, for more than 2 centuries, it's been established that impeachment is not an appropriate response to disagreement concerning a judicial decision. The normal appellate review process exists for that purpose.
Right, but we'll get into the problem with the appellate process. So let me give you some key facts here. Key fact number 1. And let me set the premise. I actually agree that there may be a constitutional crisis, but not for the reasons that they are claiming.
Yep.
There may be a constitutional crisis because you have people acting as, to put it simply.
Wow. Yeah, that's that's just, I mean, you can tell that got to that dude, that judge, him calling to be impeached. But why would you try to stop president from getting illegal aliens out of the country? Like, I just cannot wrap my head around that. And we're not going to be covering this the whole time. Like, I'll get into some YouTube stuff and other things. We might even look at the Whatever podcast. This was just the main thing I was starting out with and covering was this, because it's been talked about a lot on the news, and I've been hearing it over and over. And yeah, I don't really care. What AD will end up causing is he's going to end up causing something to come out they don't like. And like about the fact of how I've got him admitting and saying that they all smoke weed at his wife's work and stuff. And oh yeah, but I was just saying, I bet his wife, if she would have heard or realized that he was saying stuff like that, she would have like pulled the plug on his internet while he was left. You dumb ass dude. Like, fucking dumb. Yeah, I got his stream. I tell you, and then the other thing is, he ragged on Citizen Z and stuff, and kept, I don't know how many times he used the word, but he used the P word like an enormous amount of times. Habitually, just like ended up. It's just, and he's probably, he would have the most, at least he brags about having the most to lose in a situation where he would, have to face why he did that. But they think that's all a big joke. So let them keep thinking it. It's only better for me. Only helps me out, man. What in the world happened? I got it figured out now.
A president signs an act. A president makes an executive order, and a judge who was not elected goes, no, I'm going to do the opposite of that. That judge is now de facto president, and you didn't vote for that. The key fact here, let's start with judges are deliberately usurping power and violating the authority of the executive branch.
You cannot have a democracy where single individual district court judges can assume the full total powers of the commander in chief. Even on the Supreme Court, it takes agreement of 5 Supreme Court justices to change a federal policy. 5. A single district court judge out of 700 cannot set policy for the entire nation, let alone on national security and public safety issues.
Think about that for a second. That's no small thing.
Yes.
The Supreme Court justices, they all have to come to a majority decision, right? We know that. We've been through some landmark cases. And in this case, some random judge who hasn't been elected, who may have nothing to do with this president, can impose a nationwide injunction to stop the president of the United States. And that's exactly what is happening over.
And that's not proper at all. I mean, and for the judge to even be able to say with a straight face, it's not politically motivated or anything. It's complete bullcrap. Well, see, that's bullcrap. That's a load of crap. That is a load of BS.
One. So really, just political opponents can shop for one out of the 900 or so judges across the country. And hey, who cares about the Supreme Court? Hey, who cares about the executive branch? This one judge said so. They are acting as de facto president. Now, technically, the injunctions only pause the action. But let's be clear about this. That's basically a block because the president is only president for 4 years. In this case, we know there isn't going to be another term. And the cases can often take years to go through that process. So a pause is a block for the entirety, potentially, of his administration.
Yes.
Some guy who you didn't vote for in some place where you don't even live decides what the rest of the country lives with. Hey, remember that vote that you cast? Doesn't matter.
Yeah. The injunction is also a clever way to have cover while doing it. Oh, I just wanted to stop and take a look at this long enough to make sure that we were doing it correctly. I didn't say that you broke the law necessarily. I just issued the injunction to make sure that we could look into it for a couple of years until you're gone.
Imagine you're working at your job and someone comes in, right? Not someone who is your boss, not a supervisor, not a manager, some third party who you've never seen, who has nothing nothing to do with your company. He goes, hey, by the way, we're not firing you. We're just going to pause your job without pay until further review. We have to make sure that the system is going according to plan. And your boss is going, no, I don't want to fire him. Yeah, I know, but I have the authority to. So your pause without pay, this may take 2, 3, 4 years to work out, but you're not fired.
Not fired. I wouldn't do that.
Just a pause.
Yes.
That's what we're dealing with here. Here's a key fact. Number 2. This is where political biases come in. These judges hate President Trump. And what that really means is they hate you, the American worker, the American voter, the person who you voted for. They revile you. So Judge Boasberg, who just basically blocked Trump's deportation flights or tried to.
Yeah.
Let me give you some background on him. All references available, link in the description. He attended a seminar by Rodell Leadership Institute, who have anti-Trump leaders, funding sources. He also oversaw some grand jury matters that were anti-Trump leaders.
Funded legal conference in Idaho who have expressed clear anti-Trump sentiments, particularly on immigration. So yeah, you know this guy and what he
funding sources. He also oversaw some grand jury matters that related to President Trump's January 6th case, the classified documents case. He also ordered Mike Pence to testify in Jack Smith's case.
Bro, that's clear bias
against Donald Trump.
Yeah, I think too on the January 6th thing, he said strict enough laws did not exist,
right,
to be able to cover that. He wanted more severe penalties to be imposed on the people on January 6th.
This is an activist.
Yes,
it's very clear. This is an activist. And
doesn't he have a job, like a district to represent?
You would think. You would think so. You would think he should do his job as judge. But this is also, that brings us to another point. These lower court actions, these blocks, they're not even close when you this doesn't exist in a vacuum. When you compare it to previous presidents. So let's look at the total for Biden, total as far as blocks under Biden. And that was a high number. It was 14. Okay? The total under Barack Obama, 12. The total under George W. Bush, meaning district courts, right? District judges. How many times they blocked the president's agenda? 9 weeks into President Trump's second term? 15.
Gosh.
15, more than Biden in just 9 weeks.
Wow.
Does that prove bias? Well, maybe it's just a happy coincidence for these.
What can y'all not hear? Y'all can't hear the video?
By the way, do you think that these judges, do you think our justice system that may be looking at some kind of reform, they may have a vested in? Interest in the status quo, if they're looking at an administration who says, hey, we have to root out corruption and waste. Hey, who knows? But good news is the judges try and block that too. By the way, 90% of these blocks, of the 15 blocks in the first 9 weeks, Democrat appointed judges. This one judge here, people say, oh, he was appointed by George W. Yeah, and then he was elevated by Barack Obama. And that's one of the exceptions. 90% of the 15 blocks in the first 9 weeks have come from judges appointed by Democrats. It's the
If that isn't clear enough that is what it exactly shows and seems to be, I don't know what does.
Ghost of the tyrant still hanging around here.
Yeah.
You voted in something different. These judges say, no. I was appointed by the guy who is precisely the reason that the Americans voted for something different. But you know what? No, status quo. And people talk about destroying democracy.
Yeah.
This is a constitutional crisis. You know what? This is pulling at the thread of democracy by having unelected judges doing the bidding of one party that, by the way, isn't even in power anymore, but they're still kind of in power. Think of how scary that is.
How's that protecting democracy?
Yeah, exactly.
It's literally not voted in.
Exactly.
Well, and especially on an issue that the American people have spoken broadly and loudly on for immigration. That was one of the top reasons that he was elected president.
Exactly, and they can't stand it. I mean, they just absolutely cannot sit by and seem to stand it. And I mean, you know what Stephen's saying, and it's just been echoed through and through over and over again in different ways, in different cases, back to back.
Judge went to that conference by the Rodell Institute. It was actually one of the things they hated about Trump's policies was specifically the immigration policy.
Yep.
So if I'm somebody who's on the other side of like, he went to this conference funded by these people that don't like immigration policies. I have an immigration
Don't
issue
worry
with
about
President Trump.
why someone's hanging out with me in my chat. That's not your concern. You understand? Yeah. And you're dumb because you have no idea that I worked this morning. You freaking idiot.
Trump, he's my guy.
Blocked flights of known violent felons.
Yes.
And I watched the legacy.
Why was he arrested? We need to check that out. I don't know why you think that's funny. You know, he catches pedophiles. What the fuck do you do? What the hell do you do besides trying to be a goof? Oh, crap. He got attacked for questioning Pfizer?
Ma'am, I have a question. So
Vaccine.
Pfizer has the biggest criminal fine in history. So how is it anti-science to not trust them? If they're on record bribing physicians and fudging with test results, $2.3 billion fine. So how is it anti-science to simply question them? Can you explain that, please?
So I appreciate your comment. I'd like to finish my presentation and you can hold your questions.
I mean, it's not going to be answered. Well, I have 4 questions. Hey, I have four questions that didn't get answered.
No, please.
Oh my God. Your ring just rolled. It's right here.
4 questions. Hey, I have 4 questions that didn't get answered.
He's got his hand on his neck. He just pushed him off him like nothing.
Oh my God. Your ring just rolled. It's right here. It's right here. Got it? You okay?
Are you?
He barely used his left hand and tossed that dude 5 feet. Holy shit. One of these non-human, disgusting ass monsters self-deleted, it seems, after getting caught by Alex. Branson is not. It's in Missouri.
But it's not meant for everyone, of course. Predator poachers.
And they're just ejaculating on the baby. Okay. How's the baby usually reacting in these videos? Really? Any reaction?
This guy messaged us first in April, and on the messages, he was pretty sexual, asking us for nudes, thinking that we're a 12-year-old girl and all that stuff. But, you know, I don't know. It's kind of a gray area on whether that's a crime in South Dakota if it's not a real kid. So, you know, but we're thinking to ourselves, he has an app called Telegram, which a lot of these people use to trade child pornography on. He's asking for nudes of a 12-year-old girl. So he's clearly wanting that and seeking it out. So we figured we'd go to his house, see if he would admit to possessing child pornography, and hopefully get arrested on that. So 3 months later, a few days ago, we show up to his home, and my decoy did a great job of getting his phone number because he was not saying where he was from or anything like that. But he gave his phone number, and we figured out he was in South Dakota. And I approached him at his home. In the short clip that we saw, he admits to watching pornography as young as infants. And, I had him describe it in detail. I know it sounds very unpleasant, but the reason why we asked them to describe it in detail is because a lot of them do get arrested. And when it goes to court, if it does, if they don't take a plea deal, when they describe basically everything they've seen, it just leaves no doubt they're guilty of watching and possessing that stuff. So that's why we like to get him to admit to everything. So anyway, he admits to all that. He admits to talking to other kids online. And we didn't even know about the 1996 incident where he molested that 9-year-old girl. That actually got overturned by the South Dakota Supreme Court. So the justice system never held him accountable. 2 years ago, he ran over a 6-year-old girl while he was drunk. It wasn't a pedophilia-related thing, but still a threat to children. And we didn't even know about any of that when we approached him. So I guess it was all coming back to him. So when the cop came, I get him to admit it in front of the cop.
How is he out walking around?
With all in the cop's body cam, the cop kind of tells him, "Hey, stay right there for me." The cop gets on the phone with the supervisor, turns his back on Letcher. Letcher goes in the home. We hear a pop, and it didn't really register. Letcher
Sentenced on DUI hit and run charges. Oh, so he was sentenced. Must have been a slap on. How does that get a slap on
goes
the
in the
wrist?
home. We hear a pop. And it didn't really register to us what it was because it wasn't a loud shot. It was like, I think, a 22 he had. But yeah, the cop breaks the door down, and then one of my camera guys goes around the window and sees him on the ground with a hole in his head, bleeding out of it. And a few hours later, he was pronounced dead at the hospital. They did airlift him out with a helicopter. So, it couldn't have happened to a worse guy. I know it's a lot. It's still a human life and all that, but when we say death penalty for pedos, we mean it, and somebody has to be the one to experience it. So screw them.
Yeah. I mean, you guys, he was suspected of this, but he's detailing it for you guys firsthand. So it's really important to drive that point home. I know there's a lot of people, and it's always bizarre to me now looking at your Twitter feed, but there's a lot of people who are critical of you and blaming you for
Miss
this.
Liability,
But again,
thank you for
this is
coming
an
by,
individual
sweetheart.
who, like you said, was pushing for these images of a 12-year-old girl and was the one who was looking for just that. He was the one who pulled the trigger. You didn't tell him to kill himself. You advocated.
No, he wouldn't do that. He wouldn't want to try to mess up the case. I mean, his whole goal is to get him prosecuted. I can't find anything about Alex being arrested. Nope, can't find anything on it.
Famous online pedophile hunter was extremely upset over his experiences in the Palmetto State when he attempted to accompany Tony Atkins, a registered sex offender, to the Berkeley County Sheriff's Office. Rosen had met and catfished Atkins earlier in the year, and Atkins believed that he was going to be having a sexual encounter with a prepubescent girl when Rosen and his predator poachers team showed.
So this woman has a big. Since I can't find anything about him being arrested, so
thing to gamble online, even murder her own friend. Woman goes by the name Am, and she's around 26 years old, and she lives in Thailand. And Am loves to gamble. She gambles a lot on her phone through those like online casinos, and I guess she eventually becomes addicted to it. And she wins a bit, but then she starts losing. And suddenly, like all gambling addicts, she ends up broke. So then one day in 2015, she asks her friend if she can loan her money. And the friend is nice, and she's like, sure, just pay me back whenever you can. And she gives Am $3,000. And of course, immediately, Am goes and gambles it all away. Now, eventually, friend starts asking, hey, when are you going to pay me back that money? Now, at this point, Am could admit that she screwed up and she gambled away all the money she lent her, but that's not what Am does. Instead, she comes up with an insane plan to murder her friend so that she doesn't have to pay her back. First, she gets online and she figures out how to buy cyanide. Then she...
Good God. Just say, you know what? I'm not going to, and she'd lose a friend over it and be scummy, but still, anything other than killing her, good Lord.
Goes to her friend's apartment and she low-key puts some of it in her food or drink. We actually don't know which.
Oh my God.
Then friend unknowingly
Hey.
consumes it and
You had a
suddenly...
premiere? We'll check that out right after this video, Miss Bambi. I didn't know you had one. My damn notifications, I might have to double check.
Boom. She's almost immediately on the floor, and within minutes, she's unalive. Then, to be even more awful, Am steals a bunch of her stuff and she flees the scene. Here's the worst part about all of it, though. Cyanide is hard to detect in a person's system. And when someone
Very hard.
dies, they don't normally do a full autopsy unless they have a reason to, like if they suspect someone was murdered. So in this case, everyone just assumes that friend died tragically of heart failure, which means Am gets away with it. And she keeps on living her life. And then she moves on.
Good Lord, she got away with it? Oh my God.
And later, she meets this guy, Weetoon. And Weetoon is a local police officer, and Am thinks he is fine. And so she and Weetoon start hanging out, and they eventually start dating, and over time, they end up getting married. So not only did Am get away with murdering her friend, she appears to be living a great life now. She's out of debt, and there's no need for her to murder anyone else. Until... at some point, Am starts gambling again. And of course, she ends up losing all her money again. So in 2020, once she's broke, she goes to some of her other friends and she asks them if she can borrow some money. And her friends are like, sure. And just like before, over time, these friends eventually start asking Am, when is she going to pay them back? And so Am gets on the internet and starts ordering more cyanide. And one by one,
how the hell do you order cyanide? Like, what in the world? Like, how the heck does somebody order that crap? That's insane.
And she goes after each of these friends. Boom, she gets her friend at her house. 4 months later, boom, she gets another friend by giving her a cyanide-laced diet pill. Right after that, she invites another friend to stay with her in a villa, and boom, she poisons her there. Then, a few months after that, she visits a friend's place, and boom, she gets him too. And each time she...
good gosh, it's one of them serial killer mastermind.
Unalives one of these friends. She steals their cash and any like jewelry or handbags, anything she can resell. And then she takes that money and gambles it all away in online casinos. And by this point, she's gambling away sometimes
idiot.
Tens of thousands of dollars a day. But it seems to be working for her, so she keeps going. And in 2022, she convinces some more people to lend her money. And then she secretly goes and gambles it away. And when they inevitably ask when she's going to pay them back, she goes and gets more cyanide and goes after them all one by one. Boom, she poisons a police captain she met through her husband. The very next day,
oh my God.
Boom, she poisons a friend while shopping for vegetables. Then boom.
Bro, oh my Lord, dude. How in the hell could this woman just stacking bodies left and right?
She poisons another friend at her house. Then, boom, she poisons another friend at the market. 2 days after that, boom, she poisons another friend while out for coffee. Now, at this point, Am is getting really confident. She's unalived 10 of her friends, and still no one suspects anything. So this is probably starting to feel like a thrill for her. And then so...
good God almighty, how in the world? I mean... but again, cyanide
she
can't hardly
strikes
detect it.
again. One day, her friend lends her $7,500, and she eventually meets up with Am at a restaurant to get paid back. But while she's there, friend isn't feeling well, so Am offers her some cough medicine. And that cough medicine ends up being laced with cyanide. And so, boom, friend collapses right there in the restaurant. And so then Am low-key steals her purse and leaves while friend is rushed to the hospital. Here's the thing, though. Friend ends up surviving, but unfortunately, she isn't able to connect the dots and figure out that it was Am who poisoned her. She probably just thinks that she collapsed because she wasn't feeling well and that her purse was stolen by some random bystander. Regardless, a few months later, boom, Am strikes again and poisons yet another friend. Now, around this time, Am's husband, the police officer, Weetoon, somehow he actually discovers that she's been poisoning all these friends of hers with cyanide. And he's like, holy shit! Now, being a police officer, he could easily go and turn her in. But that's not what he does. See, Am is kind of making some decent money off this, and no one is suspicious of her. So instead of turning her in, Weetoon decides he's gonna help her out. So a few months later—
Oh my God. Dude, this is diabolical.
In 2023, Am's ex-boyfriend asks her to pay him the money back that he had lent to
Can't the police officer's like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna help you out. You making some good bank for us, girl.
her a long time ago. And Am's like, sure, I'll come over to your place and I'll pay you back. And so she goes over to his house and boom, she poisons him with cyanide. Then she steals a bunch of his cash and jewelry, and Weetoon picks her up afterwards and drives her back home. So like now he's her getaway driver. And it just keeps going, because a month after that, boom, Am poisons another police officer. No idea why. I mean, she's probably—
Bro, what the fuck?
She's doing it for fun at this point. However, then—
Yeah, like at this point, she is a full thrill-seeking serial killer.
Finally, it all starts to go wrong. Because one day, Am invites her relatively new friend Koi on a trip to take part in a Buddhist protection ritual. It's supposed to bring good karma or something. I'm not very familiar with the ritual, but Am invites her to come along, and Koi's like, all right. And so Am and Koi travel to this nearby province, and they buy a bag of live fish to release into the river. That's all part of this ritual. It's supposed to bring good luck. And so they buy the fish and they walk over to the pier, and as soon as they get there, Am gives Koi something laced with cyanide, and Koi consumes it, and pretty quickly, boom, Koi is out, lying on the ground, unconscious, dying. Then, of course, Am steals her purse and she flees. Here's the thing, though. Koi's mother finds out that her daughter suddenly died on the pier. And she's like, there is no way my daughter had random heart failure. That's suspicious as fuck. And so she pushes the police to keep investigating and to dig deeper. And so police, they have an autopsy done. And when the results come back, they finally see that there are traces of cyanide in Koi's system.
What do you know? And I cannot believe in all those other cases before that she did. None of them ever had a suspicion. I mean, especially for how young they were. Crazy. Crazy.
So police are like, how the hell did she get cyanide in her system? And so because Am is one of Koi's friends, police bring her in and they question her. And naturally, she denies everything. She denies even being at the pier with Koi. But what her dumbass doesn't know is that they already have security footage from that day of her and Koi walking by the river. There's Am right there, and there's Koi right there with the bag of live fish. And so once police catch Am lying, they know something is up. And so, bam, they arrest her. Here's her mugshot.
The number of victims continues to rise as police arrest a woman arrested of carrying out a spate of cyanide poisonings.
And so in total, she had unalived 14 of her own friends.
14 people. At that, I mean, not that young, but still pretty young in age. I cannot believe this. That's such a crazy story,
About
dude.
10 years. So anyway, she
Over
goes
the
to
course of 10 freaking years.
trial and she's found guilty.
That's
and
more than that's in some of those years. That means she did more than 2 in a year.
she's sentenced to death. I guess Thailand doesn't mess around. While her husband, Weetoon, he gets sentenced to 1 year, 4 months in prison.
Oh, that ain't. No, he should have got more than that. He's a police officer and knew and helped her. No.
So this influencer is really popular and really successful, but she has a problem. This guy
Spider
is
Wolf.
after a big chunk of her money. So one day, a long time ago, she would play video games online, and she met this guy. Let's call her Assassin Dog, and him Bacon. So Assassin Dog and Bacon become friends, but Bacon is really into her, and he's a smooth talker.
I got a message from this guy, and he was like, I would drag my balls through a field of broken glass to hear you fart through a walkie-talkie.
And I guess that did it, because Assassin Dog fell in love. But Bacon, he suddenly approached her with an idea. They would create a new YouTube channel together, a gaming channel, where he would play the games and he'd send her the footage, and she would pretend she was playing and react. So he would be behind the scenes, she would be the face, and they'd co-own it 50-50. And the business plan worked, like really well. The channel blew up, get tens of millions of followers over the years. They started other channels together. Those channels blew up too. Then they get this other idea. So this influencer is really popular and really successful, but she has a problem.
Wow.
This influencer is really, they would behind the scenes, she would be the face, and they co-own it 50 to evolve away from gaming and into more reaction content, where basically Assassin Dog would watch TikToks and react like,
whoa.
and Bacon would allegedly still be the brains of it, working behind the scenes. And those videos blew up, eventually getting the main YouTube channel to over 34 million subscribers. Damn! Now, this couple, who at this point was married, they were raking in tons of cash. They buy a $7 million house. She wins the Nickelodeon's Kids' Choice Awards for gaming. Things were going great for them.
That's
Until
crazy.
they weren't. One day, sadly, they split up and filed for divorce.
We broke up. He broke up with me. We still have a house. We have a house together. He doesn't want to leave. I don't want to leave.
And that is where it got real ugly. She allegedly started doing brand deals without him and taking all the money. She created several spin-off YouTube channels using the company name. She allegedly changed the passwords on the Instagram account they co-owned, locking him out. She stole hard drives and phones out of the house that had company data on them.
Allegedly.
And Bacon, he sees all this and he's pissed. So he changes the password and locks her out of the main YouTube channel. You know, the one with 30.
Oh, crap.
4 million subscribers. So they're both holding hostage. Like I said, real ugly. Now, eventually she returned the devices and he let her into the YouTube. But that wasn't enough of a resolution because he sued her. And in the lawsuit, he basically argues that she can't go on and use the brand to make money and exclude him from all that revenue. Because remember, they started it together and he claims he owns 50%. Now, this lawsuit is still pending. But let me say this. Most of this information is
alleged
and all based on the complaint in the lawsuit he filed. So this whole story is all from his perspective. We don't yet know what her perspective is or how she's going to react to this, but I imagine she's probably going to react like,
whoa.
Yeah, because that's literally the content of her reactions, the way they come. Let's check out Bambi's premiere.
Pizza first strong. Motherfucker strong.
Andy Palermo running around Pizza Verse. Fuck you and Pizza
Fuck
Verse.
you and Pizza Verse.
Verse strong.
Pizza Verse?
Motherfucker.
Fuck
Tony Pizza.
Fuck Tony Pizza.
Very strong. If Bambi Palermo ever rolled up on me, I'd stuff her in her own trunk.
Huh?
Everybody likes to gamble. You see, when a guy
Pizza verse strong, motherfucker. Fuck Tony Pizza.
Pizza very strong. If Bambi Palermo ever rolled up on me, I'd stuff her in her own trunk.
Everybody likes to gamble. You see, when a guy called Bugsy Siegel drove out west to a cow town called Las Vegas and built the first casino, the mob had created a serious cash cow. All they needed was to make sure it kept on bringing in gamblers with dreams, and obviously the muscle to make sure nobody messed it all up. Chicago's underworld had a serious rep going all the way back to guys like Capone, Bugs Moran, and Big Jim Colosimo. They struck an under-the-table deal with the Teamsters, dipping into their pension fund to build casinos in the desert. And what happened to the money the casinos made? Well, they called it the skim. It was when a guy walked into the casino with an empty suitcase and walked out with it loaded with cash. No questions asked. But they needed a guy to make sure everything ran smoothly and nobody messed around. After all, there was too much at stake. And that's why the boss of the Chicago outfit, Sam Giancana, dispatched Tony Spilotro to take care of the Golden Goose.
You know, I get calls from back home every day. They think the word bad shit. You can warn, don't ever go over my head again.
In the world of organized crime, rules weren't just guidelines, they were gospel. And when someone broke those rules, the consequences were swift and brutal. When mob associates Ronnie and Phil Scarvo were gunned down in an unsanctioned hit, the outfit's bosses were livid. Their investigation pointed to two small-time hoodlums, Billy McCarthy and Jimmy Miralia. The hit had to be avenged, and the job was handed to Spilotro, a man who had learned the art of murder from Chicago's most sadistic gangster, Mad Sam DeStefano.
No matter how big a guy might be, Tony would take him on. You beat Tony with fists, he comes back with a bat. You beat him with a knife, he comes back with a shine box. And if you beat him with a shine box, you better kill him, because he'll keep coming back and back until one of you is dead.
Spilotro wasn't one for half measures. With the help of his childhood friend Frank Carlotta, he captured McCarthy and dragged him to a basement. Days of relentless torture followed, culminating in one of the mob's most infamous methods, the vice. Spilotro cranked the handle, forcing him to cough up the name of his partner, Jimmy Miralia. Miralia's fate was sealed. Spilotro's crew tracked him down at a lounge bar, beat him senseless, and locked him in a storage room overnight. By the time they returned, Miralia was drunk, having raided the liquor supply. They stuffed him into the trunk of a car, but during the drive to his execution, Miralia tried to sabotage the brake light wiring, a desperate, last-ditch bid for survival. It didn't work. When he tried to escape, they caught him and stuffed him back into the trunk.
They whacked him at the same place McCarthy's body was being kept. The message had been sent. Mess with the outfit and you'll find out.
The gruesome saga would go down in history as the M&M murders. By the late 1960s, billionaire recluse Howard Hughes had shaken up Las Vegas. He bought out mob-connected casinos like the Desert Inn, opening the door for corporate America to step into the casino business. But while Hughes and his clean-cut investors grabbed the headlines, organized crime wasn't about to lose its grip on Sin City. The problem for the mob was visibility. Everyone knew who really ran the casinos, and the heat was getting unbearable. They needed a frontman, someone with a spotless reputation who could pass scrutiny from regulators and law enforcement. Enter Alan Glick, a young real estate developer and head of Argent Corporation. With a clean military record and glowing reviews in background checks, Glick seemed like the perfect guy to put between the mob and the authorities. What regulators didn't know was that Glick's operation was fueled by loans from the Teamsters Pension Fund, overseen by Alan Dorfman, a fixer with ties to legendary union boss Jimmy Hoffa. Backed by mob cash, Glick acquired the Stardust, Fremont, and Hacienda casinos in 1974. On the surface, he looked like the legitimate face of Vegas. Behind the scenes, however, the real bosses were raking in millions.
The casinos were perfect. It was like a license to print money. The best part was that nobody was watching too closely. Every night, cash would just vanish right out of the count rooms. You'd have a guy walk in, fill a suitcase with unrecorded bills, and stroll out the back door like it was no big deal. Nobody said a word because everyone was on the take. They called it the skim. That money didn't stick around Vegas for long. It went straight back to the bosses in Chicago, Kansas City, Milwaukee, and Cleveland. Couriers would carry it out, hand-delivered, clean as a whistle. And the gaming regulators, they didn't have a clue. It was like stealing candy from a baby.
To keep the skim running smoothly, the mob needed men on the inside. Their top pick was Frank Lefty Rosenthal, a brilliant oddsmaker who was put in charge of operations at the Stardust and Fremont casinos. Rosenthal was the brain, the man who kept the casinos profitable while the mob siphoned off its cut. But brains alone weren't enough. The mob also needed muscle, someone to keep everyone in line and ensure no one jeopardized the operation. In Vegas, he was tasked with watching over Rosenthal and protecting the outfit's interests.
That guy was Tony Spilatro. In Vegas, his job was to watch Rosenthal's ass and protect the skim. They put Glick in as the front guy. So Rosenthal's watching Glick. Spilatro is watching Rosenthal. But who is watching Spilatro? The answer? You guessed it. Nobody.
Spilatro wasted no time setting up shop. Initially, he operated out of the gift shop at Circus Circus. But after being banned from casinos, thanks to Nevada's infamous Black Book, he moved to the Gold Rush jewelry store on West Sahara Avenue. From there, he ran a fencing operation with his childhood friend and lieutenant, Herbie Fat Herbie Blitzstein. Spilatro wasn't content with overseeing the skim. He expanded his criminal empire, assembling a burglary crew known as the Hole in the Wall Gang. The nickname came from their signature technique, drilling through walls and ceilings to loot businesses without triggering alarms. For years, Spilatro managed to stay one step ahead of the law, thanks to his high-profile defense attorney, Oscar Goodman. Goodman, a master of media spin, became Spilatro's mouthpiece, turning legal battles into public spectacles.
Tony Spilatro, to retain Oscar Goodman, he's got to have a lot of money. Where does the money come from?
I assume whatever monies I get. I don't ask him. All I know is when Mr. Spilatro is with me, he's a kind, decent, attentive, genteel person.
Charlie M, you make me pop your eye out of your head to protect this piece of shit, Charlie M.
This man who was alleged to have...
This man who is a creation of law enforcement's vivid imagination.
Put somebody's head in a vise until the eyes popped out.
I represented him on that case, and the judge found that the witness who testified as to the vice in the eyes and all of that nonsense was a liar.
Is it conceivable, Mr. Goodman, you're just turning your eyes away from where your clients get their money? You don't want to ask too many questions. Intentional ignorance of where they get their money.
Thanks to Goodman, Spilatro avoided prison. But the pressure was mounting. In 1979, Spilatro was banned from casinos after landing in Nevada's infamous Black Book, a list of people barred from the industry. By 1981, federal authorities were circling, investigating the skimming operations and Spilatro's ever-expanding criminal activities. As law enforcement closed in and the outfit's operations began to crumble, Spilatro's ruthless tactics and flashy lifestyle would ultimately lead to his downfall.
One of Spilatro's guys gets clipped by the cops in Vegas, and the guy sees red. So he puts a contract out on 2 of the officers who did it. Now that's crossing a line, and everybody knows it. Cops are off limits. It's a rule that keeps things from spiraling out of control. But Spilatro, he didn't care. He was ready to break the rules, even if it got him whacked. Word gets back to Kent Clifford, the big boss of the Las Vegas Metro Police. Clifford ain't no pushover.
What are you prepared to do? Because they won't give up the fight. Here's how you get him. He pulls a knife, you pull a gun. He sends one of yours to the hospital, you send one of his to the morgue. That's your plan.
He packs his bags and takes a trip to Chicago to have a little sit down with the bosses. He tells them straight, if one of your guys much as touches my cops, I'm bringing 40 of my guys to Chicago, and we're taking out everything that moves around your houses. That's no idle threat. It's a declaration of war. The boss got the message loud and clear. They yanked on Spilotro's leash, made sure he backed off, and the contracts quietly disappeared. Clifford wasn't a guy to mess with, and even the bosses knew better than to push their luck.
The beginning of the end came when the Hole in the Wall gang botched a burglary at Bertha's gift shop in 1981. Caught in the act, several gang members, including Spilotro's old friend Frank Carlotta, were arrested. Facing a mountain of charges and fearing for his life, Carlotta flipped, spilling the secrets of Spilotro's operations and delivering a crushing blow to the outfit.
They approached me while I was in Clark County Jail, and the feds did. And he said to me, he says that there was a contract out of my life. And I looked at him and I laughed. And he says, Bull, I said, I know what you guys are up to. I said, you're trying to get me to roll. I said, that ain't gonna happen. He said, this is our, he said, I don't, he said, we're compelled to tell you this. I said, all right.
His affair with Jerry Rosenthal, Lefty's wife, was seen as a dangerous liability. His flashy lifestyle and real estate investments didn't help either. For the bosses, Tony Spilotro was no longer an asset. He was a liability. By 1986, Spilotro's world was unraveling. He faced multiple indictments, including charges of racketeering and attempted extortion. Despite his attorney, Oscar Goodman, expressing confidence in beating the charges, the Chicago outfit wasn't willing to gamble on Spilotro's luck or Goodman's skills. The mob bosses had decided enough was enough. Their order was chillingly direct. I don't care how you do it. Get him. I want him out.
By the 80s, Dorfman's number was up. The guy had been nailed for bribery and was staring down some serious time in the can. Word on the street was, the outfit didn't like the idea of him getting cozy with the feds. Pressure makes guys talk, and Dorfman knew too much, way too much. So the bosses made the call. He had to go.
At least 4 people saw Alan Dorfman gunned down in the hotel parking lot in Lincolnwood. This is how they remember the gunman. 6 feet, 2 inches tall, weighing perhaps 240 to 260 pounds, 36 to 40 years old. He had a full beard. And there was a second man, younger, perhaps 30, and shorter, under 6 feet. He was of average build. They apparently waited until Dorfman had parked his Cadillac in the Hyatt parking lot and began walking with a companion, Irwin Weiner, to the hotel restaurant, 100 feet or more away. As Dorfman passed between 2 parked cars, the killers came up from behind.
It was a message loud and clear. Cross the outfit or even think about talking, and you end up in a parking lot just like him.
The outfit devised a plan to eliminate Spilotro and his younger brother, Michael. The brothers were lured to a meeting in Bensonville, Illinois, with the promise of a promotion for Tony and the prospect of Michael becoming a made man. But as they drove away from Tony's Oak Park home on June 14th, 1986, brothers seemed to sense their fate. Michael reportedly told someone that if he didn't return, it was no good. His wife later testified that he had removed all his valuables and told her he loved her repeatedly before leaving. The Spilotros arrived at the Bensonville house, but instead of a promotion, they were met by a mob hit squad. According to later testimony from Nick Calabrese, who became a government informant, the brothers were taken to the basement where their execution awaited. Michael was tackled and strangled with a rope, while Tony, defiant to the end, reportedly asked, "Can I say a prayer before meeting the same fate?" Their bodies were driven to a cornfield in Enos, Indiana, where they were buried in a shallow grave. 9 days later, a farmer discovered the grave, and the brutal details of the Spilotros' deaths emerged. Their bodies bore the marks of a savage beating, with forensic evidence revealing that they had been punched and kicked to death. Contrary to the dramatized depiction in Casino, they were not buried alive or beaten with baseball bats. The discovery of their bodies sent shockwaves through Chicago and Las Vegas, but even in death, the Spilotros were denied peace. The Chicago Archdiocese barred them from receiving Catholic funerals due to their ties to organized crime. A private service was held instead, followed by their burial in the family plot at Queen of Heaven Cemetery in Hillside, Illinois. Tony Spilotro's fall from power marked the end of an era for the Chicago outfit's operations in Las Vegas, but his violent demise became one of the most infamous chapters in mob history, a cautionary tale of ambition, betrayal, and the ruthless nature of organized crime.
When Rosenthal bought it in 2008, it was alleged the guy had been working with the feds for decades. Yeah, you heard me. Old Rosenthal, the slick operator everyone thought was untouchable, was actually a snitch. The feds had him under the code name Achilles, and he fed them enough dirt to bury half the outfit. The skim, mob rackets, murders, you name it, he was spilling it. Exactly how much he gave up, that's still fuzzy. Rosenthal ratted on high-level mob hits, big ones. We're talking about the murders of Sam Giancana and Johnny Roselli, one of the most respected names in Chicago and Los Angeles. And here's the kicker. Rosenthal even helped the cops solve the murders of a few guys who got clipped after breaking into Tony Accardo's place. The guy didn't just cross the line, he danced on it. For someone who was supposed to be part of the life, Rosenthal sure had a lot to say to Uncle Sam. It looked like Rosenthal stacked up the odds and made the decision years before things came to a head. It sure would explain how he came out relatively unscathed from the whole damn thing. Apart from surviving a car bomb, of course. But like I said, it was alleged he was a rat. I'll leave it to you to decide.
The murder of Tony Spilotro marked the end of the mob's dominance in Las Vegas. The city would eventually be taken over by corporations, and the neon lights would shine without the shadows of organized crime. But Spilotro's story remains a cautionary tale, a grim reminder of the ruthless efficiency of the mob and the ultimate price of betrayal.
Even in death, Spilotro wasn't spared the mob's cold-blooded code. His killers attended his wake, a final show of dominance in a world where loyalty only went so far. In the end, Spilotro's story wasn't just about crime. It was about the rise and fall of an empire built on greed, violence, and ambition. As for Tony the Ant Spilotro, he forgot the cardinal rule of the mob. The house always wins.
You know that show Jeopardy? So this two-time Jeopardy champion ends up murdering his own wife. So the guy's name is Curry, and Curry's 32, he's a nuclear engineer, and he's super smart, like a genius. He's apparently a member of Mensa, and he's also the kind of guy who makes sure to let everyone know how smart he is. And one time, he and his big brain, they go on Jeopardy, and he wins a bunch of money. He actually wins the show twice, and he gets like $60,000, which is great money, especially in the 80s. But then, one day in 1989, Curry's whole life changes because he meets this woman. Her name's Linda. Linda's 45. She's a little older than Curry, and she works with him, and she thinks he is 40. And so they hit it off, and they start dating, and eventually they start smashing. A few years later, in 1992, they end up getting married. Linda has never been happier. She's super in love with Curry and his big brain. Here's the thing, though. I guess Curry doesn't feel the same way about her because for some reason, about a month into their marriage, his behavior starts to get a little suspicious. Like he starts demanding that everything be put in his name, the mortgage, life insurance, 401k. Not only that, he starts insisting that he take out a $1 million life insurance policy on Linda. And when Linda is like, okay, but are we going to take $1 million life insurance policy out on you as well? Curry's like, nah. But anyway, so Linda agrees to this because remember, she's super in love with Curry and she'll do anything to make him happy. But then things get even weirder. One day, Linda's at home and the phone rings and she picks it up and there's a woman on the other end who's looking for Curry. And this woman is wondering why he hasn't paid his child support. And Linda's like, Curry has a kid? But she had no idea he had a kid from a previous marriage that he's supposed to be paying for and isn't. Not only that, he had been married twice before and he never told her. So this marriage is off to a good start. Regardless, none of these lies really matter to Linda because she's still way into him for some weird reason. And so at some point around 1993, Curry's weird ass decides, okay, I'm tired of this marriage. I got the life insurance policy all set up, and now it's time to unalive her. Why don't these people ever just get a divorce? Anyway, and so he gets right to work on this plan. And he starts making all these fancy homemade salad dressings because I guess Linda really loves salad. So he makes these salad dressings for her and he'll put small amounts of nicotine in them, which over time, the nicotine builds up in her system and starts making her sick. And eventually, Linda starts getting gastrointestinal problems from this. And she gets really sick. And she checks herself into a hospital. She's so sick. But the doctors don't really know what's going on or what's wrong with her. Then, while she's in the hospital, one night, while she's asleep, someone sneaks in and tampers with her IV bag. And when a nurse comes in to check on her, she sees that there's a puncture in the tubing for the bag, and the hospital calls the police. And so police come out and they investigate and they talk to Linda and they ask her if she knows if someone has been trying to poison her. And the only person Linda can think of is Curry, her husband. But unfortunately, before police can launch a proper investigation into all this, Linda is released from the hospital and she goes right back home to live with him again because, again, she still loves him so much. Shortly after that, sure enough, Linda starts getting sick again. She's dehydrated, she's vomiting, she can't eat. And so Curry, he takes her to the hospital again. It's a different hospital this time. I guess he doesn't want to raise suspicion. Then, while she's in this hospital, it happens again. One night, while she's asleep, someone sneaks in and tampers with her IV bag. Luckily, the hospital staff catches it this time, and they bar anyone else from entering the room unaccompanied. And so, eventually, Linda recovers, and she goes back home to live with Curry. She still has no idea he's behind all this. Now, at this point, Curry realizes his plan isn't working. Adding small amounts of nicotine to Linda's salad dressings, it's not doing enough. It isn't unaliving her fast enough. And so he and his big brain, they come up with a new plan to unalive Linda. And this time, it'll be as quickly as possible. First, he slips her a bunch of sleeping pills to knock her out. Then, after she's passed out, he takes a syringe and he fills it full of nicotine, and bam, he injects her with it. And I know it sounds kind of weird, but pure nicotine is apparently fatal, and it doesn't take that much to unalive someone. A syringe full will definitely do it. And so this injection of nicotine that Curry gives her, unfortunately, it ends her life. And so then, obviously, police get involved and they investigate the death and they have a toxicology report done. And the toxicology report shows that there's a lot of nicotine in her system. But I guess they don't investigate further because they don't have any evidence against anyone specifically. I actually don't really know why they don't investigate further. I just know they don't. Regardless, they eventually stop and the case goes cold. Meanwhile, Curry, he gets a fat paycheck. Remember how he took out that $1 million life insurance policy on Linda? Well, he ends up having to split it with Linda's sister, but still, he takes home over $400,000. So he's been good. Then he eventually moves from California all the way over to Kansas, and he starts a new life, and he gets a job as a building code inspector, and he gets married all over again, and he basically just continues on like he's never gonna get caught. And maybe he never will. Maybe he really is that smart. Until years go by. And one day in 2002, this sergeant from the local sheriff's office, she starts looking into cold cases, and she stumbles upon the case of Linda's death. And she's like, all right, I'll take a look at this. And she starts re-examining all the evidence, and she immediately zeroes in on the victim's husband at the time, Curry. I mean, he was with her in the hospital when the IV bags were tampered with, and Linda had previously told police that he was the only one who could have poisoned her, so bro is looking really suspicious right now. And so this sergeant spends a really long time looking into this, going over old files, re-interviewing old witnesses, everything she can do. Then, 4 years later, she finally has enough evidence to take all this to the district attorney. Then the district attorney gets the toxicology report that was initially done on Linda further analyzed, a more modern analysis, because like 15 years have gone by since Linda was murdered, and toxicology analysis has greatly improved. And this new analysis shows that Linda had 50 to 100 times more nicotine in her blood than a regular smoker would have. 50 to 100 times. And Linda didn't even smoke. And so it's now confirmed that Linda died from nicotine poisoning, aka she was murdered. So with all this new evidence backing her up, the sergeant, who was originally working on the cold case, she travels over to Kansas and she brings Curry in for questioning. And she grills him and she gets him to confirm that he was home alone with Linda the night of her death, meaning he's the only one who could have injected her with nicotine. And so, bam, Curry's arrested. Here's his mugshot. And so then Curry goes to trial, and finally, 20 years after Linda's death, he's found guilty, and he's sentenced to life in prison. Maybe he wasn't as smart as he thought.
A 5-year sentence is a joke. I mean, 5 years is no joke, but he's also not done getting all of his charges. So 5 years is the appetizer. I see you've looked at a little bit on the case, but not enough. Okay, Johnny Somali, he's that nuisance streamer that I've covered for quite a while. He's the guy that does like the world tour of getting his ass beaten. So he goes to a different place pretty frequently, and when he's there, he does his absolute best to harass people, break laws, and just be like the most insufferable piece of shit imaginable. And it usually ends with his face on the floor or his face in somebody's asshole. And he's been doing this for a while. He got arrested in Japan, but they gave him a slap on the wrist. He lied to them, left the country, started shit-talking them. He's been everywhere. But what's most important is he went to Korea, and he started doing the same shit. Well, Koreans, they didn't take it lightly. They even had like a UAV on this guy where they tracked him in order to find him so they could continue to beat his ass so he would not know a minute of peace. It was beautiful. It was an amazing thing. And he got charged with some very serious stuff. And he just went to his first trial today. And it went really, really bad for him. So, according to a Tozy who went there, and not just a Tozy, there's others that are there, kind of just to like see how it all goes and also just relish in the justice that he's finally about to be faced with. According to a Tozy, he showed up dreadfully hungover because I guess last night he went live doing shots for donations and he got super fucking plastered and like, I don't know, puking his brains out or something. Then he went to trial, was extremely late, and he went there with a huge smile on his face, got hit with very serious charges carrying many years of prison time, and then the reality swept in. And then there was no smiles left. And this isn't even all of his charges. Today was only some of his charges, and he's already looking at least 5 to 10. He pled guilty as well. So it's not looking really good for the Wonder Boy, Johnny Somali. Oh, another thing is, he was wearing a hat, and many times he was told to take off. He would take off the hat and then put it back on and get told to do it, like take it off again. So he was just being extremely disrespectful in the court. apparently. So everything that could go wrong did go wrong. He couldn't even pretend to be likable for a court appearance. He also didn't have a suit, so he had to borrow a suit that was like 12 sizes too big. It's comical. It's like me wearing my 6'5" dad's suit. He said this is basically what he looked like in that suit. Has he come to America? No, he's still in Korea facing trial for all of his crimes. It's going to be many years before he comes back to America. It's looking like, thank God. He's most likely going to end up locked away in a foreign prison with an entire country that hates him. If he thought the ass-beating global tour was bad before, wait until he gets it in a slammer. Holy. Everyone in Korea hates him. And yeah, here's Legal Mindset where he was giving his perspective on it. He was also in the Atozi stream as well. He pled guilty to obstruction of business and 2 counts of violating the Minor Crimes Act, which, according to Legal Mindset, is basically like the equivalent of misdemeanors over there. But they take it very seriously. So even with just these, which seem like they don't seem like crazy charges that someone would be, fucking thrown into the gulag for, but he's still facing 5 to 10 years for it, for just these that he pled guilty to, and he still has more on the way. Oh yeah, he had no idea about the additional obstruction of business charge which was filed against him. That's the one he's going back for in April. His lawyer also didn't know. Oh, and here we go. Looks like they have the footage of when he was streaming hours before being supposed to show up to court and then being really late.
Somali live on Party. Yo, there we
Look at how happy he is just moments before faced with many years in jail. Oh my God. Johnny, hey Johnny.
Live on Party. Locking in with party.com. Got the deal in the works, man. Shout out the creator. Shout out B.
Hey, shout out. That deal is going to go through, no doubt, Johnny. Those party streams in prison with making Pruno in the toilet is going to be ballistic, no doubt, brother. You will never see him without a black eye. He's going to be constantly just bruised and bloody, like, hey, back on Party. Really enjoying myself.
Be a better me.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to make sure that we can make some fire-ass content here while I'm still in Korea.
Hey, why are you still in Korea, Johnny? What's going on? I thought you were leaving a while ago. What are you still there for? What's going on, man? Why can't you leave?
Is live tomorrow, and I will be live streaming the trial. I will be live streaming before, during, and after, exclusively here on Party.
Hey, how'd it go, Johnny? How'd that stream go? I bet it was fucking amazing, huh?
Me, a bunch of motherfuckers that without me, I'm gonna be fully suited and booted out with a MAGA hat on.
The suit that he borrowed from like the nearest clown store, it was way too big. I don't remember how tall he is. I think he's actually shorter than me. So that shit he must have borrowed from like anywhere else that's not fit for like toddler clothing. He looked like an absolute fool.
And I'm gonna continue to go live here.
Oh, I didn't even get the part where he started throwing up and puking and getting super hungover before going to trial really late. Oh, here we go.
I'm giving y'all the first viral moment tonight.
He's ready for trial. Let's go, Johnny. So cool. What a guy.
God damn, I just threw it everywhere. That's how you know I'm not scamming. I'm not scamming. That's how you know I'm not scamming.
Oh, what a fucking hero. I can't believe his first day in court didn't go well. It's so weird. He was prepped perfectly. Yeah, here it is. So just the obstruction of business can carry a maximum penalty of 5 years in jail. It's possible he ends up being sentenced to 10 years behind bars, depending on how the trial plays out. And again, that's not all the charges yet. That's just the current charges that he was facing today, pled guilty to. Oh, it's so good. He's also been accused of violating anti-terrorism laws, threatening to sexually assault female streamers, drug use, AI deepfakes, violating Railroad Act, even spreading North Korean propaganda. He's not facing any of these, to my knowledge, yet. Korea has a 90% conviction rate, don't they? Here, you know what? He explains it better than I ever could. But yes, kind of. Here.
Yeah, they were pretty shocked.
Oh, okay. So that was a separate charge. Was that the charge that he was showing?
The new obstruction.
Oh, the newest obstruction charge. Okay, yeah. So there's another charge as well that's coming against him about the deepfake stuff that he accidentally leaked on stream last night.
Nice.
As we've been covering, I mean, he's been playing his cards in the worst way possible the whole time, from start to finish.
You just don't understand his strategy. You see, Johnny Somali's 10 steps ahead of us. He's the drunken master.
And last night, I guess he decided to get drunk at 3 a.m, go live, and show up extremely late to court because of that. And on his live stream, he was doing, like, I guess, getting paid to do shots, and he ended up showing a new charge that hadn't been leaked to the public yet.
So that charge was actually from the police case that the police have given over to the prosecutor. So it means that they're going to prosecute it. It's going to trial. Yeah.
In the Korean system, once the police decide to actually formally charge you and they send it to the prosecutors, that's pretty much it. That's where you get the 90+% conviction rate. You're pretty much done. If they've decided to go that far, that means they have the evidence to prove the crime.
And that's exactly what Johnny Somali wants them to think. He's got them eating out of the palm of his hands. He just needs to go get his ass beat a couple more times. It's going to reset his noodle, and he's going to once again, it's going to be like taking the limitless pill. Johnny Somali unlocks 100% of his brain when he's suffering from CTE from all the people in the world that continuously use him as a punching bag. So you just wait for him, sober up, he'll go outside, annoy somebody, they'll hit his ass per usual, and then we're going to see him at maximum capability. My God, he's going to be the smartest man on the planet. It can't just be for clout and money, right? Like, it has to be a mental illness or a humiliation kink. Humiliation kink only goes so far. Usually, if humiliation kink doesn't result with you doing things that'll send you to jail for fucking 10 years, that's not a humiliation kink. And it's not even masochism either, because he gets really mad when he gets hurt. He starts crying, like actually crying. So I don't know what it is. I think it's just actual delusion. It definitely is a mental illness. 100% is a mental illness. I just don't exactly know what kind. It's like terminal clout obsession. I couldn't tell you. It's fascinating, though. It is so interesting. He doesn't even get much attention on his streams, though. That's the thing. He doesn't. The interesting thing about Johnny Somali is he is such like a fringe case of like what I usually talk about, where no matter who you are, you'll have supporters. Johnny Somali doesn't even have that. He has people that love to watch him get his ass beat. He doesn't have anyone that actually likes him. He has people that watch him just waiting for him to get hurt. And they entice him, and they like push him towards it, like donating for shot before trial. They just enable him to be a fucking disaster until he eventually ends up dead. And it's not even like hate watchers, because it's like really fun for them to watch him destroy his life. It's a crazy, I can't even call it a community, because he doesn't have a community. He just has people that sit around and they'll like shoot spitballs at him, but with a dollar bill attached. It's so fascinating. He's just a lol cow. Yeah, but it goes above a lol cow. Like I don't even know what you'd call it. It's like he's like a visual novel lol cow where you get to choose the outcome. Because most of the shit he does, it's the chat like enticing him to do it, convincing him it's a good idea. So they are like actively guiding him down the path of being the ultimate fucking destructive loser that's going to get thrown in jail or dead. It's like they get to guide him. Like they're taking him down the Telltale game, tree for the bad ending. Kind of like a choose your own adventure. Yeah, it's kind of like a choose your own adventure. Never heard of this guy. I have no doubt you don't know Johnny Somali's name, but you know his work. You probably just don't recognize him with his eyes open. Usually he's concussed on the ground after getting beaten on stream. I'm confident you've seen his many highlights of just getting pummeled in public. He is internationally hated. He is internationally hated. He is like a unifying force across the planet. Just this scourge that when he enters your country, everyone's united looking for him so they can beat him up. Like, I wasn't kidding. In Korea, they actually set up like a UAV is the wrong word. Geoguesser is definitely not the right way of describing it. But they set up something so they could track him, tell each other, so they could go and attack him. Because he is just that hated. He is that bad of a person. He is that much of a menace. Who are his role models, man? I don't know. A Wobbuffet with the amount of times he just gets hit? I couldn't tell you. I don't know who his role models are. I don't even know if he knows who his role models are. All he does is just look for ways of getting himself hurt. Wouldn't you feel like a failure if you were a parent who spawned this? I've said this before and I still maintain it. I think there's only so much parenting can do. Sometimes, like in Johnny Somali's case, I'm sure maybe his parents weren't great. I have no idea. Maybe they were amazing. But there are only some things that you can control. You can't control your son getting hard addicted to clout online to the point where he's willing to throw his whole life away for a couple of donations, right? Like you can't. What are you as a parent going to do about that? Like he's a grown ass man. They can't just like walk into his room and unplug the Ethernet cable, right? Like there are just some things that you as a parent don't have control over. I don't know his parents. I have to imagine they are probably fucking livid. They probably are so sad about this because it's gotta suck, man. You raise a human being for 18 years, ends up like Johnny Somali. Fucking rough. Oh, another thing worth mentioning. He is always the one to instigate it. He's usually the ones to make the threats, and then he starts actually crying when they beat his ass for it.
이 새끼 냉동면 장애 있나 봐.
There it is. Oh yeah. I see how you censored it. You can see the start. He came at him with like the fucking flying front kick, and then Johnny's like running away. It's so good. They chase him down. Up 2, but he's most likely going to get 1 to 5. I don't know, man. Maybe I'm a little too optimistic, but I really think there's a chance Korea just does not play games with this. The charges are bad already, but even aside from that, he is just so openly disrespectful, not only to the public, but to the court system as well. He showed up over an hour late, hungover. He kept putting on his hat when he was told repeatedly not to. Like, I feel like they're not going to go easy on him. It's, again, maybe I'm just, huffing the hopium, but I just have a feeling. That would be the best thing they could do, because that would finally maybe start to be a deterrent to these IRL nuisance streamers. I moved a few more things around in my room, but now I'm positioned directly under this light, and the shadows on my face make me seem like I'm sitting in an interrogation chamber from L.A. Noire. Looks like that scene from The Dark Knight when Batman keeps hitting the Joker's head on the table. I don't know what I'm going to do about that, but for now, it's going to have to do. I'm just going to be looking a little odd here. Last year, I was talking about an ongoing situation with an obsessed Twitch viewer that ended up taking a 700-mile journey, like he was going down the Oregon Trail, fording rivers and battling dysentery, to arrive at a Twitch streamer's house he was obsessed with. Her name is Just Foxy, to light her car on fire, and seemingly trying to light the entire house on fire, because this was a blazing inferno. It was a big fire. Now, at the time, there was a lot of information still unknown. All we had was some of the surveillance camera footage, which I'll briefly show you. But I just learned 10 days ago, a YouTube channel called Midwest Safety posted the entire body cam of the situation, as well as that Twitch chatter's arrest.
On my car, on the hood, and some pot. And he lit something sticking out of it and walked away casually, like he didn't do anything. The next clip after that was the front end of my car engulfed in flames. The firefighters came very quickly, and I'm very thankful for that, because the fire spread to the fence and burnt the side of my house as well.
Now, at the time, we didn't know too much about the individual behind it, but now, a year later, I know more about this guy than I do some of my own cousins. So his name is Farhan Jami. He has been arrested, and we know his fate. Spoiler alert, it's a prison sentence. And we have the body cam footage where he is looking like a pathetic fucking goober. But before showing you the body cam footage, I'll go ahead and tell you what the motivation was, because I imagine a lot of you were able to piece it together, kind of sniff it out. He was one of Just Foxy's big donators. He had apparently donated a lot of money over a period of time and then found out she had a boyfriend and was so upset by that that he flew out to her area, then drove to her house to set her car on fire as a way of getting revenge.
The suspect, wearing a loose-fitting pair of lighter-colored sweatpants, latex gloves, a darker-colored shirt, a hat, and a mask, sets a box-shaped object on the vehicle. He then sets another object on top of it with a fuse-like wire sticking out of it. The suspect lights it with a lighter and walks away, which leads to the entire front end of the vehicle being engulfed in flames.
Here's the director's cut of the arson, and you get a good look at him and the device that he made. Dude made a goddamn Fortnite gadget here for this fire. He made a certified whatchamahooza. It's like a fucking kids next door contraption for this fire. It's like a bucket and a fuse and a brick, and then he sets it on fire and it burns the whole car down and spreads a bit to the house.
This officer, as well as many others in the area, both on foot and patrolling in their vehicles, all begin to look for any suspicious people in the vicinity. 10 minutes later, officers find a vehicle parked on the side of the road, only about 2 minutes away from the crime scene.
What's going on?
Not exactly a criminal super genius here, not the mastermind you'd read about from like a comic book. So the guy commits this crime, and then he drives 2 minutes away from the scene of the crime and takes a bit of a snooze, or at least pretends to sleep. You don't expect a lot of intelligence from some deranged lunatic like this, but you would expect someone that just committed a serious felony to at least have the wherewithal to drive further away. But instead, he just stays at the scene of the crime, basically, and just tries to catch some Z's. Maybe he was just so satisfied with himself that he just needed to pass out for some wet dreams. Like, I don't know what the thought process could have possibly been, but that's him. He was parked just 2 minutes away from this place in the same neighborhood.
Hey, what's going on?
Not much. Just wanted to rest up a little bit. I have a long drive.
Why are you doing it out here?
No reason.
Hey, keep your hand up.
I'm putting my seat up.
Well, keep your hands up. Where do you live?
I'm from New York.
You're from New York? Why are you doing out? What are you doing out here?
Just came to visit a friend, really.
Where's the friend live?
Down in Cincinnati, but he's working, like, doing some construction over here.
This guy's a smooth talker. He's got the silver tongue here. He's weaving some very intricate lies. I'm here visiting a friend. That's really kind of the best he's got for that. So why are you sleeping in a random neighborhood if you're here to visit a friend? It's just so good that he happens to be a fucking giant turbo idiot, because he gets caught immediately. Thank heavens. He didn't get away with this crime at all. And this whole scenario with him only gets even more ridiculous. He is so fucking stupid, it is shocking.
So why did you decide to just pull off in a neighborhood to sleep? I'm so confused.
Because I drove 40 miles here, and I literally came like an hour ago, and I was like shot, and so I just needed to knock out.
So you just pull off into a random neighborhood?
Yeah, I mean, it was right off of the street, whatever it is. I really didn't know where to go. And I'm sorry if like they called the cops or something, because they probably thought I was, I don't know, doing something weird here. But I swear, like, I'm not doing anything crazy out of left field or anything.
You mind if we search your car?
No, please, go for it.
He might actually be the worst liar ever. Playing Among Us with this guy must have been just the freest dubs of all time. He cannot spin a coherent story even slightly, and everything he says gets proven wrong within 10 minutes. It's the quickest speed run I've seen for someone's lies getting debunked in a body cam.
The reason why I ask is because there was somebody who set a car on fire.
Who set a car on fire?
Yes.
Like, what do you mean? Like, how do you set a car on fire?
They set the car on fire.
Like they lit the gas tank?
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Oh, geez. Wow. Jiminy Christmas. What do you mean they set a car on fire? How do you even do that? Is that even possible? Can cars even Can cars even be on fire? Like, what did he do? Like, is that the gas on fire? The gas tank? Oh, goodness gracious. Ooh, wow, that's not good. Like, what, you tell me, like, maybe put like a box on the hood with a bucket on top and a fuse and then lit that on fire and burn the whole car down? The car happened to belong to a Twitch streamer or something? Like something like that? That's crazy shit. Whew. Some people, am I right, officer? We got to be careful. There's psychos out there. Fist bump. Like, this is not even a human way of reacting to something. He is an actual NPC. He's trying so hard to be like surprised by it that it gets into like fucking Neil Breen level acting. Like, this right here is something you'd see from Tommy Wiseau's The Room. Oh, geez, how's your sex life? It's so odd, and I feel like the officer immediately knew right then and there, like, yeah, this is the guy. Who would possibly respond to this information like that?
I came because I landed at CBG, and I drove. It's like 40 miles, and I was already shot from the freaking flight.
Where does your friend live?
Somewhere like down there, but he works up here. But no, like something like that. I honestly just made the first right off that road. Made the first right because I was like, yo, I need a place to just knock out for 30 minutes and it ended up being a few hours. But yeah, I wasn't trying to hurt anybody here.
This officer has now sent a picture from the surveillance footage that shows the suspect so he can compare it to this man they're investigating.
Oh, this guy's good. Yeah, my friend, he's like down over there. I was up over here and then got all scrambled around, and then I just got a little sleepy, so I pulled on over into this neighborhood to take a little 30-minute nap, turned into a few hours. Oh, also, this guy, goofball, he openly just said multiple times the officers can search his car if they like. So obviously they were going to, and they found some pretty incriminating stuff. And then the officers get sent a picture from the surveillance camera, and now they have a picture of the guy in the act of the crime, and they have the guy right there. So now they can look at that picture and look at the guy and see if they match up. And guess what? They match up pretty well.
It's about the same outfit. I want to see if there's a mask in here.
Here's your COVID mask. Yeah.
Okay.
He's got a lighter in here. He's got a torch lighter. Yeah, there's a torch lighter and a blue COVID mask in the center console. There's no luggage. There's no backpack.
It's not the hardest game of Where's Waldo when you have the picture of the guy committing the crime and a guy that looks exactly like it standing in front of you. He's wearing the exact same outfit. And in the car, after getting permission from the guy to search the car, they find a COVID mask as well, which also fits the disguise that the criminal was wearing. The only thing they don't find is a hat. But it's not like the hat is a fucking mask from Mission Impossible where it fully hides his identity. It's not exactly, concealing who he is. It'd be like me putting these glasses on and people going like, where the fuck did Charlie go? He just vanished. Who is that? Who's sitting in his seat right now? Like the hat isn't enough for officers to be like, yeah, it can't be the same guy. He's not wearing a hat. It must be someone else. He must have gone the other way. We got the wrong guy here. But they do still do their due diligence in finding the hat in order to 100% put this in the books that they know they have the right guy.
He's got a beard. He's got the same clothing. He's got the reflective shoes, everything.
Situation down the street where you lit something that caught on fire. And point blank ask you.
No.
No?
No.
Okay. I understand that you're visiting friends, but you parked over here for a reason. Is there anything else you want to tell me?
It's not me.
That's not you?
No.
It sure looks like you and everything you're wearing.
It's not me.
That's not you, huh? Look a little closely.
His poker face is too strong. Even when confronted with the overwhelming evidence, they even show him a picture of himself. He goes, nope, that's not me. It's actually that scene from SpongeBob with Man Ray and Patrick when it came to Man Ray giving Patrick's wallet back.
While searching the area around the suspect's car, officers found multiple plastic bags with a hat, multiple sets of latex gloves, and another mask within them, not even 10 feet away from the vehicle, underneath a pine tree.
Got gloves and everything. Yep.
Holy shit, how did they even find that? It was so well hidden. It was like finding the One Piece. Farhan did an extraordinary job of burying the evidence by putting it 10 feet away from his car next to a tree. You could have probably seen that by accident, just by looking at his car. It was that close to it in plain sight. So they found the hat and everything else that was used in the crime. And so they take it to Ferran saying like, hey man, we found the bag that you tried to hide. Do you want to just confess to it now, or do we have to keep playing this game? Are we still going to go through this song and dance?
Can you explain why no more than 10 feet from your car is a hat that matches the exact picture from the suspect in the video?
I can't, but
Are your fingerprints going to be on that bag?
maybe. I don't know.
Is your DNA going to be in that hat?
It shouldn't.
Okay, so there's no way your DNA can be in that hat. So when we test it, we're not going to find your DNA in there.
Yeah, I mean, you shouldn't. No.
Okay. I guess I'm a little confused. This is a pretty random off the beaten path
I
area.
did see people walking around.
Okay. This is a very random area to be.
Just when you thought the chess master was caught between a rock and a hard place in a checkmate position, he flips the board around on you. You see, he just cooked up a really smart story here. Just so you know, I did see people walking around here. That's good. We never even stopped to think that he could be being framed by people that happen to be walking around this neighborhood at 3 a.m. That is food for thought. We might need to play with that narrative here, that storyline. Actually, I do kind of want to toy with that a little bit. I want to slap the cheeks around on it. Let's experiment here. So you mean to tell me that the criminal in the video that you have seen, that's not you, there just happens to be another person of the exact same build, wearing the exact same clothing that you're wearing, with the exact same beard, with the exact same hair. The only difference is they had their COVID mask on instead of in the center console, and they had a hat. And the real criminal, your doppelganger, was also happening to be walking around at 3 a.m. in the same neighborhood that you decided to randomly park in to take a nap while visiting your imaginary friend. That's the story you're trying to sell me on right here.
Yes. Now look, when I was asleep, somebody might have come thrown a bag there. I don't know.
We'll be back with you in a bit, okay?
I got pretty much everything over here that says you got gloves and a mask. In the other bag, you have gloves, a receipt, a mask, something else, and a hat. So this is everything he was wearing.
So they've got pretty much everything here, and yet there is still more that they gather to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that it's this guy. They not only have everything he was wearing and everything he used, despite him saying that his DNA shouldn't be on there, which, by the way, isn't even him saying it won't be, because he's still leaving the door open for the possibility that it might be. Like, what the fuck? How could it be there if it's not yours? Like, what happens? Your doppelganger came through, broke into your car while you were sleeping and took some of your hair or grabbed some of your spit while you were asleep and rubbed it all over the material, so that's how your DNA can show up there, even though it's not yours? Like, what the fuck? He's not even saying that it won't be. He's saying that it shouldn't be. But I'm already getting off on another tangent for this fucking awful fan that he's weaving. But not only do they have all of the material that he was using, they then also have other surveillance camera footage from other houses that confirm he didn't get there at midnight like he claims.
People who live in this area also have surveillance footage that caught the specific times that the suspect parked on the street. Officers discuss these specific times and relate them to the suspect's claim of being parked there since midnight.
2:21 is when it got lit. 2:27 is when they're saying they saw the video of him coming in here. So him being here since midnight is not correct.
So you said he came out here around 12, around midnight? They got video of you pulling in here around 2:25. You've been lying to us from the start, man. Oh, we're taking you back to PD.
I know the evidence is overwhelming, but I'm not the guy that did this. I don't know what to tell you. I'm just not the guy who gets my hands dirty, you know? It's not me.
A convincing argument from Ferran here, but the evidence was too much. Every single piece of his story was proven wrong, all in the time span of like 20 minutes, maybe. They not only got the accurate time for when he really did pull up, which was minutes after setting the car ablaze, but they also found all of the pieces of clothing and items used in the crime as well, and a picture of him at the crime. So I think they've got the right guy, I'm pretty confident to say, and he was sentenced to 46 months in prison for this crime. So yeah, just wanted to give you a follow-up to all of it. That's about it. See ya. So a video title floated around in my algorithm today that really caught my eye. It's called The Drunkest Man in Police History. And I thought, that's a pretty bold statement. The Most inebriated man in the history of law enforcement? Well, I've got to take a peek for myself to see if the rumors are true.
4-year-old Nathan was observed by witnesses attempting to enter the highway on-ramp at a high rate of speed when he lost control and crashed his vehicle into an embankment. It's also worth mentioning that Nathan had 3 prior OWI convictions in 2 active cases.
If drunk driving was a sport, this would be the LeBron of it. He's got some active cases against him, and it seems like he treats driving the same way I treat shuffling. I won't do it unless I've had at least 10 drinks. So our little superstar Nathan, looking fresh out of an audition for the new season of Shameless, has found himself operating a vehicle while inebriated per usual. This time, he's in a bit of a pickle.
Okay.
It's my fault.
What happened?
My fault. I'll get it to you when it's respected.
Okay. Can I get you guys to wait over here, please?
Yeah.
What an interesting proposition. He's accepting responsibility for the situation here, but only on the condition that he gives it to them when it's respected. That's the art of the deal, baby. What a fucking conundrum. No one's more deserving of respect than our boy Nathan here, multi-champion drunk driver.
What's your name?
Not the point right now.
Okay, what is the point?
I'll give it to you when it's respected.
Why are you so angry right now?
40 or 50 miles an hour, weaving in and out of the traffic.
I got cut off. This is what happened.
The way that he's like holding the door open while he's poking his head out of the cabin, it's like a gopher looking to see a shadow to know if we're getting more weeks of winter. Like it looks like fucking Robin Williams coming out of Jumanji asking what year it is. This guy is fucking clueless on what's going on here. It is a really big statement to say this is the drunkest man in police history, and I'm sure it's exaggeratory to some extent, but watching him, it is impressive just how fucking hammered he is without being face down in a pool of his own vomit. I've gotten disgustingly hammered before, and it's led to me puking for 2 hours in the back of a rented truck once. But I still feel like he's drunker than I was. The only time I'd ever been more out of it is in college when I smoked a mystery joint that almost sent me to Valhalla. Pretty sure I beta tested Fent with that one. And I think there is still a very good chance he is still more fucking out of it than I was, and he just tried to operate a vehicle. And it's not his first time doing it either. It's crazy. He should not be allowed behind the wheel of an automobile under any circumstances whatsoever.
I think I'm gonna just hold it until my life gives.
What it seems like.
Well, obviously not, right?
Well, let's start making moves to get down.
Well, let's do that then.
Do it. I'm waiting on you.
It's not on me no more. Right.
Can I help you?
No, it's a $30,000 truck, man. I got it after you, all right?
All right, go ahead.
It's so over the top, almost feels fake, like a parody. It almost feels like a Buster Keaton silent film where he's acting drunk. But this is very real, and the way that he dismounts that truck, I mean, 10 out of 10 technique. He just dropped the Fosbury flop on him right there. He just ragdolls himself off the truck. And I'm still not sure if I 100% agree that this is the drunkest man in police history, but I can guarantee you that you can be the cleanest man in world history if you go get some cheeky soap right now. Our Valentine's Day sale ends today. 10% off the entire store. Use cheeky.com for the best soap in the fucking world. Click the link in the description.
I haven't seen my kids in 3 months.
Sorry to hear that, man.
Damn, the lore. That's the sad exposition right there. He's trauma dumping now, and, well, you can't help but feel sorry for him now. Geez, pulling on the heartstrings with that. I don't think he has kids. I think that's just a full-blown lie. I think he's just pulling for anything like, I'm not drunk. It's just I'm really sad. I haven't seen my kids in 3 months. And he starts hitting his truck. Damn! Blast! Curses!
You're not injured at all? No, you're not in pain at all?
My hands are both broken. I'm sure my forearms both broken from this fall.
You should do the ambulance and the fire department will take you out too. Right?
So just to recap, he just came in way too aggressively. Yeah.
That's the way. Yeah.
The ceiling leaks. The floor creaks. Both hands are broken, forearms broken, my dick squeaks. Like, what is he talking about, man? What? I love how they're like, are you injured? He's like, yeah, glass bones, paper skin, hands broken, forearms broken, 5 toes broken on both feet. It's just, honestly, everything might be broken, officer. Like, who did this?
What's your birthday? For what reason? Anything. Because you're gonna. That's besides the point. I've got cut off. Melvin Poplar. So you, right? I have no reason to speak to you, right? So leave that way.
What's your birthday?
I would rather speak to you this way, right? You have no reason to follow us. Go back that way. Go ahead back that way.
Okay. Are you gonna?
You can follow back that way.
Okay.
Oh boy, this guy's good. He's playing hardball. So he starts to sniff that they might be onto him because they're asking him questions like, hey, what's your name? And where's your ID? So he's like, for what reason? May I inquire as to why you're curious on these specifications on my being? I don't know about that, officer. You have no ground to stand on. Please excuse yourself. Please go that way. I'm going to talk to the other officer this way. Please go. Go, bless. Now, please. Yes, of course. Yes, why? For what reason? So he just keeps saying for what reason over and over again and like dismissing the other officer. Like, you're excused. I outrank you.
Just so you know, you're under arrest right now for some driving violations and drunk driving. For what reason? All 3 of y'all look stupid as right now. I'm not being searched. I ain't got nothing upon my own, so to speak. Y'all break my wrist, y'all being sued. Let me re-coordinate because my wrist cannot breathe.
I got that sign.
He continues to just be an asshole nuisance, so the cops eventually just throw him in the cuffs, not respecting his obvious broken hands and broken forearms, broken dreams, and broken spirit, but everything is all cattywampus internally. And then I don't know what monologue he gave them right there. He said, like, I don't care about being searched. I ain't got nothing on me upon my, I'm just a bill. I'm only a bill sitting here on Capitol Hill type shit. And then he says that his wrist can't breathe.
Man, I'm a grown dude. Who are you? No, I'm not ready. Can I pick up my pants? So let me put the hands and so to speak in front of me. But don't hang in front of me, right? No, it ain't in front of me. Yeah, I want to. No, is that a problem? When I'm Taliban, dumbass, bring me to county for what? You have nothing on me right now.
That's true. There's nothing here. There's no case they can build against him. This is bulletproof, watertight, actually. He's very smooth. He's doing a great job of staying squeaky clean here.
Why am I being brought to county? Why am I being brought to county?
Not right now. You're putting a car first.
So why am I being brought to county?
His voice sounds like a cartoon character. It sounds like Miss Fowl from Jimmy Neutron, but without like the raspy squealing to it. Like, I don't know what he's been drinking. Maybe he's been doing beer helium balloons that he's been inhaling in his truck or something. So now he's got all like the helium in his lungs and shit. And all the alcohol, like, I don't know. But his voice, like, there's no way he sounds like that on a day-to-day basis, right? It just feels like it's pitch shifted for a chipmunk version of a song or something, like Nightcore.
For what reason?
For drunk driving.
We're going to go over some paperwork real quick, all right?
For what paperwork?
You can have a seat.
For what paperwork?
For OWI.
For what OWI?
All right.
And,
so
and failing to maintain your truck on a...
Here's the thing. We're just going around in a circle right now. It's not helping anything.
It wasn't a circle. It was a straightaway.
No, I meant we're talking in a circle.
Sure. We'll bring
so
it
are you going to have a seat?
Should I?
Checkmate, officer. Nathan caught you in a lie. You said it was a circle, but it was clearly him totaling his truck on a straightaway. Peculiar. We call that the scholar's mate, good sir. Nathan wins again.
All right, so there's no other options right now.
I don't give a about my other options. My other options is a felony, which I'm already facing. Does it matter to you?
Your choices are get in or we make you get in. That's it.
And your choice doesn't matter if I get in the car or not, right?
It's one of the two right now. Which is
so it's one of the two right now, right? So it's either a felony or a misdemeanor. Which is it gonna be? What do you want it to be?
Right now it's a ticket.
Right now it's a ticket.
He's not even arguing with them or anything. He's just repeating what they say back to them with slurred speech. and that's it. He's not even making any kind of statements, or like he's barely even getting words out. He's kind of just like gargling his own tongue half the time while trying to stay conscious.
Chose to drink and drive, though.
You're a, all of a sudden, I chose to drink and drive, and you're a bitch, right? It's not my opinion. You're a motherfucker, and I know what your face looks like. How about that?
The way they censor it so much reminds me of that Whitest Kids You Know sketch with Abraham Lincoln, you fucked up now. It's like the officers start to just like goof around with him to a certain extent. So he hits him with like almost like a Big Lebowski moment where when he calls him bitch, he's like, well, he's kind of just like, your opinion, man.
Tell it bothers you with the way you're tensing, and this dude right here, hat, beard, skinhead, everything else.
It isn't a very good beard, I agree.
Shut the up, bro.
I try.
Shut the up, bro.
All right.
Don't say a word. You a skinhead. Shut your mouth. Shut your mouth. I pay your motherfucking taxes, bro.
I've got a hunch Nathan doesn't pay for shit. I feel as though he's most likely still mooching off mommy and daddy's money and crashing their cars with his drunk driving antics. Of course, I'm not a psychologist and I'm not his bartender that's plagued by his presence Monday through Sunday, but judging from his resume with the multiple DUIs as well as this current one, I can say with a high level of confidence he's an insufferable piece of shit.
Off my chest! Y'all seem stupid.
Since Nathan's compliance only continued to diminish, officers chose to place him in a wrap restraint device.
Answer me that.
Drinking and driving and resisting arrest.
No, you're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong.
It was like 5 minutes of hoopla with Nathan just trying to roast them. He just kept calling them ugly and calling them bitches and insulting that one dude's beard. And then eventually they just put him to the grass and lie him down until they can get the wrap restraint device, whatever the fuck that is.
You're ugly. I'm about to slap your family, your family, your family, and your family. You're bald ass. Pick me up. I think I give a. Yep. Think I won't forget a.
So they slap a goddamn doohickey on Nathan here and they carry him around like luggage through the TSA. They basically just have this wrap device, which is basically just something that'll put handles on a drunk fucking idiot like Nathan so they can carry him easier. It's so interesting.
The fucking spit mask, bro. That's besides the point. Bro's a and he knows his wife was about to get spit on. That ain't my problem. His wife wanted to get DM.
This fucking thing looks almost exactly like the headgear I used to put on when I do after-school taekwondo courses. So Nathan tried spitting on one of the officers, so they had this on standby, which is basically just a bag with a cushion on it. Like, it almost looks like he's just getting kidnapped now.
790.
Want to know Mel on board en route to DMC.
While being transported,
the whole arrest is really a headache listening to Nathan, but in the backseat of the police cruiser, like, he's just started like mocking the police and like you heard him there, 790. It really felt like Adam Sandler was back there for a moment. He was channeling it. Chalamet. Like, that's what Nathan was doing for the police ride to the station.
Y'all look stupid as fuck. You look stupid as fuck. I'm gonna sue the fuck out of you just for you being in here. You understand that? Do you understand that? Good. You might as well leave. You look ugly as fuck. Y'all don't even look like cops. Who the fuck is this dude? A fucking Nazi?
No, I'm not a Nazi.
You are a fucking Nazi. Look at this dude with fake teeth.
Fake teeth?
Yeah.
No, they're just
Look
really
at
nice.
you. Your teeth are fake. Bro.
Unfortunately,
You got fake teeth, and you're sad because I got better teeth than you.
There's like 10 more minutes of him just trying to roast officers and saying some really questionable, odd shit. And then there, as you heard, he tried to insult the officer's teeth, going on about like some Chip Skylark shit, some shiny teeth in me. So I'm not going to show you any more because it's just more of that. He got 18 months in jail for this, as well as like probation, as well as he had to write an apology note to one of the officers. Now, I think he got off really easy. This is his 4th OWI. 4. Count them 4 OWIs. Why is he only spending 18 months in jail? Like, it's a miracle nobody was hurt from this. Like, I really think this is not someone who is learning their lesson at all. Like, let's just assume this is the drunkest man ever arrested in police history. Why would the drunkest man operating a vehicle only get 18 months in jail for it after totaling that vehicle and putting so many people in jeopardy? I really feel like he got off super easy. This isn't some like sweetheart and angel who made some kind of crazy mistake. This dude does this fucking annually. Like, he is doing this repeatedly. And he is also just a massive piece of shit. Like, he got off very easy. But yeah, I saw this title and I just had to talk about it a little bit. So yeah. There's one thing more valuable than money, and it's not gold. It's something that I feel if the world really did end and we ended up in some kind of post-apocalyptic Fallout world, instead of using bottle caps for currency, we would use Stanley Cups. Now, you can probably tell just by looking at me, I don't own a Stanley Cup. I don't have that sparkle in my eye that hasn't fixed that hole in my soul like it has for so many others. And I don't really get it. Not gonna lie to you. It seems like just a pretty standard receptacle for liquid, but people go ballistic for Stanley Cups. And one woman not only stole $2,500 worth of Stanley Cups, she then went on a high-speed police chase in order to try and keep her treasure. That was the one piece, and the cops weren't letting her get away with it.
High-speed chases are always intense, but this one from Ohio had a twist. A woman led officers on a 115-mile-per-hour pursuit along I-75 after stealing thousands of dollars worth of merchandise, including everyone's favorite trend, the iconic Stanley Cups.
115 miles per hour, that's no joke. That is certified zooming. This lady was tearing up the roads like she was Dominic Toretto looking to steal DVD players and VCRs.
No, I'm not sure what the product she had in the bags, but I know that it was the 2 bog bags and then product was stuff up there. Melissa.
I'm gonna send you a link. Can you send me that video?
Absolutely. We just did this on Monday.
Melissa here mentions that she doesn't know exactly what was stolen, but knows that there was a lot of product in 2 bog bags. I once again showing how out of touch I am. I don't even know what the fuck a bog bag is. To me, that sounds like something from Star Wars that you'd leave the cantina with. But Melissa went out and filmed this lady who had shoplifted from them and then gave that video to the police when they arrived. And she just looks exhausted. The police get there and ask if she can send the video, and she goes, "Yep, we did this on Monday." Like, it's just part of the routine here. Like, the way she's acting about this is the same way I act when someone insta-locks Black Widow in my Marvel Rivals lobby. I just let out a huge sigh.
After receiving a statement from the manager, officers had a full description of the suspect. It was time to search for the thief. Moments later, officers spotted the vehicle, and a high-speed chase ensued as they attempted to apprehend the suspect.
We are eastbound on North Dixie Highway.
Because of the video Melissa filmed, they were able to get the whole kit and caboodle on the vehicle that the shoplifter was driving, and then they just so happened to have a random NPC encounter out on the road where they saw the vehicle. They flipped on the sirens, and the Stanley Cup super soldier cracked her knuckles and said, "It's playtime." So she goes pedal to the metal off rip, but the astute observers amongst you will have noticed she didn't forget the road rules. She didn't just wipe her ass with etiquette. She used her turn signal in order to start the pursuit. So she turns right and then steps on it.
If someone can communicate to this Perrysburg Township here behind me to come take the one position, I'll give it all. And the red light at Fort Meade. Eads Boulevard, westbound. We're at the traffic light at Jefferson Commons and Jefferson Street.
Now, of course, I'm exaggerating a little bit by saying she stepped on it. She's pushing that car to its limits, but it's just chugging along at like a casual 50 to 60. It's not even really going that much over the speed limit. The big thing is she's running red lights. She's not pulling any kind of crazy maneuvers. She's not fucking spinning it 360 degrees and barrel rolling and ramping it off of a parked tow truck or anything. But she's doing her best to try and elude the officers here on this pursuit. All just to hold on to a couple goodie bags of Stanley cups, fucking beverage containers. Now, of course, they are worth a couple $1,000s, but even still, the charges she would be facing for that theft were significantly smaller than what she's going to be facing for this pursuit.
That intersection, we're coming up to the Virgin Diamond here at 75, 475 split. Back on 475 southbound. I'm on 25. She just took a pit on her.
No, it doesn't feel like this pursuit went on that long, and it doesn't ever seem like it reached 115 miles per hour unless it was briefly where it cuts away from the dash cam footage to the officer's body cam, which is possible. But then, like, 4 other cop cars spawn in, and one of them pit maneuvers her. How did they even get there so quick? Were there just, like, 4 other officers lurking like sharks in the water waiting for a pursuit to pop off? They heard the call, and they're like just go hog wild towards it? Or maybe the perception of time is a little skewed here because maybe we don't see the entire chase, which I think is the more likely explanation, because there's just no way that many officers would have been able to reach this point that quickly, because it feels like the chase only went on for like a minute and a half at most.
Stealing from Dick's.
The chutzpah to ask the cops what I do, as if she's just totally innocent here. Like, let's just assume she didn't know that they were aware that she stole from Dick's Sporting Goods, right? You just went on a high-speed pursuit. What do you mean, what did I do? Pardon me, officer. I was under the impression this is a free country. You're telling me I can't engage in a little high-speed police pursuit? What happened to freedom? What happened to freedom? This country's gone to the birds.
I'm down here, caught up to do it too, guys.
The officer rolls up and they exchange fist bumps, congratulating him on a job well done with the pit maneuver. Hey, brother, that pit, Insano style, excellent work, gnarly. Pats him on the ass or something. They just look like they're having a great time. Like, it looks like they're just having a lot of fun. I have expected them to thank her for letting them go on this high-speed police chase.
You got a felony. You go to prison now for stealing some clothes. Not stupid.
Guess what? Slap on the wrist.
All for a little stuff. Yeah, for a misdemeanor. Kind of dumb, but I got a tow truck coming. I'm just gonna get evidence here and go from there. I thought you guys had her boxed in there.
Look at all that loot in the trunk there. Those Stanley Cups popping out like uniques in Path of Exile here. Holy. Like one of the officers mentioned, it was a misdemeanor, and then all this hoopla has turned it into a felony. And it is a lot of money worth of Stanley Cups. The merchandise apparently came out to like $2,500. Like, that's a lot. But it's probably not worth throwing your whole life away on this police chase for.
I mean, I just want to call and make sure my baby ready, my daughter.
If you would have stopped in Finley, and we would have wrote you a court date, and you would have left. And then you could have called your dad, or your baby dad, and your
I didn't
daughter.
know how Finley works, so I wanted to get
Toledo, and then what's
And
happening?
then I
You
went
got
to
a film.
Perrysburg, and then I'm like, fuck Perrysburg, so I was like, let me get to Toledo.
It's terrible excuses. All right, but no, you're not going to use your phone anytime soon. So sit tight.
So this kind of confirms what I was saying earlier, that this must have spanned many different areas over the course of a longer period of time. The video lets on, because now she's in a different county, and it's really blown it way up. So she's saying that, oh, she wanted to get somewhere else because she doesn't know how it works over there, and wanted to get over here, and the officer's like, that's fucking stupid. I don't know how she thought that excuse would work or what the thought process was, because as the officer mentioned, if she had just pulled over initially, it would have been like a simple, quick procedure. She would have just left, but instead she stretched it out over the course of many miles. And she's like, well, there's a reasonable explanation for that, officer. I didn't know how it worked over there, so I wanted to get over here. But what seems to be the problem? And the officer actually gets really upset by her. Like he goes in, he starts mocking her and insulting her. He was just kind of like fed up with her shit.
Enjoy the
Well, I had a newborn baby. Can you call him?
Let me tell you something right now. I am being a dick. I don't give a shit. Okay, you know how many lives you just put in danger out there? Myself, all these officers, all the citizens out there, and then you're worried about your little baby. You could sit home and take care of him like a good mom.
I am.
That shit sounds like an Xbox Live lobby right there. He just starts going in. So he's not wrong. She did put everyone on the road's life at risk with the way she was driving. We didn't get to see all of it, but she was running red lights and weaving between cars. And it apparently did reach over 115 miles per hour. That's not Weenie Hut Jr. That's not nothing. And she tries to use the excuse that she has like a newborn baby at home. Don't really see what that has to do with anything here. I have a newborn, and he refuses to drink out of any chalice that's not a Stanley Cup. What was I supposed to do, officer? I had to steal all $2,500 worth of Stanley Cups. I had no choice. And then I had to go on a long police pursuit to try and maintain it, or else my baby would have died without Stanley Cups. You don't get it. Dude wasn't having any of that. Puts on like his mocking voice and then calls her a bad mom, which she is. She is objectively a terrible mother.
Good work. Good work, officer. Good work. Fucking dumbasses for a fucking purse. Y'all slow as fuck. Did all that shit for a purse, and they just fucked my car up. Now I really ain't gotta pay for my car.
You fucked your whole life up for some Stanley Cups. I would argue that's far stupider. Now, you could make the argument that it wasn't worth the pursuit since they already had like her license plate or everything. And I've definitely seen that pop up when like looking at police chases in LA, because sometimes the officers will just be like, all right, enough is enough. It's getting too dangerous. We'll just go ahead and arrest them later since we have all their info. I feel like that probably would have been an option here, considering they had the license plate and everything about the car. But I guess they didn't have any information about the owner, nor did they have the evidence that she stole. So perhaps they felt that they needed to engage in the pursuit. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to arrest her later. Couldn't really tell you.
And he keeps touching my motherfucking wallet like you about to touch my money. Why is y'all in my money? Thief ass pigs. Your mama bitch and your ugly ass kids bitch.
How peculiar. She likes to steal, but doesn't like to be stolen from. Hypocrite. I just love that she calls them thieves. That was just like the icing on top of the cake. Thieves! It's disgraceful! Disgusting! How could you? Now, who knows? Maybe they did actually take money out of her wallet. That has happened before. I've definitely read about that. It's possible. I don't know. I don't have the body cam footage for that. But I can't help but giggle that she steals, goes on the high-speed police pursuit, gets arrested, and then gets mad that they're going through her things. Anyway, though, that's about it. See ya. Is finally here. A response more hyped up than the Avatar sequel. Logan Paul is addressing the massive 3-part investigation conducted by CoffeeZilla, exposing CryptoZoo as a potential scam. Logan Paul was not too happy about that nomenclature, so he made a video pretty much doubling down on everything about CryptoZoo never being a scam, while admitting to hiring criminals for the team and trying to poke holes in CoffeeZilla's credibility, but without ever providing evidence for why CoffeeZilla is no longer credible. It's not the best response, but it was enough to win over a lot of people's trust somehow. even though Logan Paul never actually addresses any of Coffey's claims with the evidence Coffey provides. Instead, he fixates on a couple of small things, none of which actually contribute to disproving anything from Coffeezilla's video series or his year-long investigation, and instead just kind of serves to assassinate Coffeezilla's character, and then throws the condom on the floor and says he's taking Coffeezilla to court. I'll see you in court, bub. He makes it clear that he will be pursuing legal action against Coffey for this investigation. So overall, very curious to see how this all plays out from here. I'm going to show you his response video as well as me going over it, because like I said, he never actually addresses any of the evidence-backed claims that Coffeezilla provides from his investigation. He doesn't do anything to prove his innocence. All he does is talk about CryptoZoo's coming. I'll make sure of it. What's he going to give us? Well, so far it looks like he's given us just barely enough nutrients to survive. Like, I'm still hungry. Coffeezilla released a 3-part series on an investigation that spanned the course of a year. Logan Paul gave us a 7-minute appetizer that he's trying to serve us as the entree. Like, come on, there's no meat on these bones here. Let's ride.
Coffeezilla. I watched a 3-part series called Investigating Logan Paul's Biggest Scam, and like many on this platform, you have successfully used my name for views and money. While you're
I immediately already hate that start. Coffeezilla's entire brand is all about exposing scams in the space. You yourself commend him for his work ethic and his like actual great content, and you have immediately wiped your ass with that phony statement. What an awful start. We are 7 seconds into this, and it's already a terrible start. You've already exposed yourself for one lie already. You called yourself a fan and how Steven always gets it right until now. And all of a sudden, it's all about views because of your name. Yucky.
For views and money. While your work used to be impartial, your addiction to clicks has clouded your judgment, and you've made very real errors with very real repercussions. Coffee, you took a shot at my reputation. So in this video today, I'm going to be defending myself with facts, something that you have gotten in the habit of twisting as you continue to morph from an investigator to a gossip channel. You see,
interesting, because he gets like the whole story, even from the people he's exposing. He directly talked to like Amio Talio for Paradox Metaverse and stuff. I am curious which ones he's referring to. That's a bold statement. Do you have anything to back that up, Logan? Is that in here somewhere? Spoiler alert, no. This is just a plot thread with no closure here. He says that he's been making very real errors as he's morphed into more of a gossip channel, yet provides nothing to substantiate that claim. No evidence. Just says he's getting things wrong now. Source? I made it the fuck up. Trust me, bro. That's the source. Like, that is laughable. You can't state that. You can't make that claim and have nothing to back it up. Besides this situation, which you're claiming is wrong, what else? You're saying that now, as he's gotten more popular, he's no longer impartial. He's more of a gossip channel that's completely fine with getting facts wrong. Can you show me something that proves that statement from you? You didn't. Do you have anything, or are you just pulling it out of your asshole?
You see, Coffeezilla tried to work with law enforcement in the past, but his work was described as not anchored to truth and often speculative. He is a lopsided journalist with an agenda, and he's nothing more than the Keemstar of crypto and finance. But as opposed to just telling you, show you some of the discrepancies that I
Oh, that's such a big play. Whoa, the legendary double fist into the butthole of wild claims with no evidence, huh, Logan? A bold maneuver. Now he says that he tried to work with law enforcement, but was often deemed not anchored to truth, or the work was speculative. Do you have anything to back that up anywhere? You making that statement piqued my interest, and I feel like I did more investigative work on me just being curious than you did for your whole response video, because I reached out to Coffeezilla and talked about some of the claims here. And Coffeezilla was as confused as everyone else when you talked about this one, about wanting to work with law enforcement. According to Coffeezilla, he's never wanted to work with law enforcement, never has tried to. And in fact, the only time he's ever had any communication with law enforcement is when they approached him to hand over some of his evidence on a case. So I don't know where the fuck this is coming from.
Code fled to Switzerland and held it hostage for $1 million. Well, his name is Zach Kelling. Surely, as the internet detective that you proclaim to be, you would know that he spent time in prison for multiple felonies, one for aggravated robbery, armed robbery at a liquor store, and the other for
Sounds like a good member of the CryptoZoo
obstructing the
team.
legal process. I can see why you kept him anonymous.
Who will be calling Z here?
I guess among many things, had not only an agenda, but a fondness for orange jumpsuits.
Why is he on your team? In fact, him omitting that detail makes you look a little more competent. Now that I know you hired a fucking criminal to work on the project, I have even less faith in you to make good choices. This doesn't discredit anything. At all, actually. This just makes you look worse.
Or did you just hear what you wanted to hear and moved on? Because even if you're lying to yourself, Steven, you still have to believe it. And I know what you're thinking. What type of idiot would work with an unsavory individual?
That is what I was thinking.
I guess that's what I get for trusting the team that I relied on to vet and manage Eddie's hiring process, who has turned out to be a professional con man that I have since learned fooled billionaires, the Mormon Church, the owner of the New York Yankees, and
Hey, who'd you learn that from, Logan? Which source did you learn that information from? Surely it wasn't Steven, since you're talking about how untruthful and how often speculative and wrong it is. So surely you didn't learn that information from Steven, right, Logan?
invest in a cryptocurrency, was allegedly responsible for 2 rug pulls before you interviewed him. So either you missed that or you knew it and failed to let the public know. Why? Because it was a clear sign that he was also untrustworthy. You seemed a second of research would prove that to be false, as you can definitely hatch eggs and even breed your animals.
Click on that. Oh, we got a duck.
And
whoa!
Fine print, cross-hatching was available on ETH at one point, but you perpetuated the opposite as truth with your chest out.
Basically, nothing worked.
And by the way, Guy, almost all NFTs are just pictures.
Oh, it's just a picture.
And surely a
so the project sucks. So it's nothing new like you proposed. It is just, again, JPEG on JPEG, and that's it. It's not a game. You're right. NFTs are all worthless pictures, but you were proposing a game. In fact, your friend was like, oh, you're not even talking about this like a project. This is like a game. And your exact words was, it's a game. It's a really, really fun game. But now you're just here saying it's just pictures, which is the point everyone was making. It's not a game. It's more just NFT JPEGs that are just stock images. You're contradicting your own sales pitch. So I don't know about this guy. This guy could very well be super untrustworthy. I'll take Logan's word for it here. These were interviews with alleged victims of the rug pull. Now, even if this guy, and I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt here, even if this guy is a very shady character, he could have still been scammed. It's not mutually exclusive because he's not the only one. So among the thousands upon thousands of people you scammed, one of them happens to be a douchebag scammer as well. That doesn't discredit the whole point, though. There's like 12 other people he interviewed as well, but even the non-interviewed people, there were tons of victims. Coffee used him as a spokesperson. No, he had like 12 other people there, and he just had his testimonial as part of it.
right? So why have you allowed the illegal recording of Jeff's phone call without his permission? And then more like an internet criminal, post it online.
And it was interesting. It was like,
Crypto King Jake stole $6 million. True or not, we had already removed him from the team when we realized Conman Eddie, lead developer, stole $1.7 million. True or not, when we learned he was a bad actor as well, while myself and Jeff sold nothing and made nothing as verified through investigation and the blockchain.
Jeff, Logan's manager, to my knowledge, never sold. Neither did Logan Paul.
I repeat, and illegal. I suggest you use the money you got from pumping your Patreon to hire a good lawyer. You're gonna need it. And maybe we could have.
Ooh, he's throwing it down. I guess to piggyback off that, why didn't you update the community on the project? Why didn't you talk to the community that brought all of this to light, who felt scammed for the last year and has lost tons and tons and tons of money on it? Why have you only ever sent 3 Discord messages, one of them right before posting this video? This is very easy to continue going back and forth with the finger pointing. If it's not a scam and you really are working on it, why the complete radio silence with your community? And even if he was, you can still say, hey, we're going through legal trouble, but we're still working on the game. We're not a scam. We're working on it. And what about the handmade asset or the handmade art, which was proven to be stock photos? That is he going to address that? This is just too short to address all of the like actual evidence that CoffeeZilla submitted.
Talk about this. If you had reached out to me personally, not my manager Jeff, who is not me, Steven, but the first time you did was on Christmas Eve after you released your series, so you could rely on false statements and unreliable people used recklessly. That's fine. You've denied my invitation multiple times. You're still invited. It can be a one-on-one. If not, we're going to handle this ourselves while we continue to build CryptoZoo, and I'll see you in court.
Amen. Damn, that was big. 7 minutes of fury, but not a whole lot of evidence on specific claims, just more broader things. So you hired 2 criminals because you didn't do any amount of background research. Why is there faith in CryptoZoo? Why should there be going forward? How about here? It's coming. How? Have you replaced the 2 criminals? But yeah, he did just he posted in the Discord for the first time in a year right before releasing that. So he has 3 messages in the Discord. One of them was yo, and then the other one was I'm drunk or I'm sober right now. So he hasn't really been keeping the community up to date with what's going on, which is why for a year now everyone felt like they've been scammed. 0 apologies, 0 direct addressing victims, and 0 accountability. Logan accuses me of not reaching out to him directly until December 24th. It doesn't mention I reached out over a year ago prior on Instagram. Not the optimal platform to get a response, but I also don't know how you're supposed to get in touch with someone like Logan Paul either if it's not through his manager. There's no direct means of communication that I know of. It was only after a year of not getting a response that he began calling his manager for answers about CryptoZoo and got comically stupid responses. So now you're admitting like you just didn't see it. Which, I mean, it's through Instagram. It's not optimal, but like, it's not hard to believe that he wouldn't know how to get in contact directly with you if it's not through your manager. That's the whole point of a manager. He could have used Twitter. He's blocked on Twitter. Logan blocked him. Plus, Logan Paul's DMs closed. I can't DM Logan Paul. No, I don't expect you to see every DM, which is why I reached out to your manager and explicitly said I was trying to reach you because I hadn't gotten a response. I mean, there's the receipts. I mean, yeah, Jeff read it. So, oof. What kind of people is Logan Paul hiring? Literal criminals. He admits to it. He hired a fucking criminal. Well, 2 of them, actually. Well, 3 if you count Crypto King. 3 criminals. He had Eddie, the professional con man, who's a blatant con man. I don't know how anyone on Logan Paul's team could hear this guy's story and think for a second he's real. He claimed to have won the fucking 2018 Super Bowl at the Philadelphia Eagles and claimed to be like a hacker responsible for AOL hacking and also a CIA operative and also worked closely with billionaires and shit. Like, it takes minutes to deduce that this guy probably not the real deal. And then I don't know why he ever teamed up with Jake the Crypto King. That guy is just an actual serial scammer. I hope that he does talk more on Impulsive because, like I said, he didn't tackle specific claims with evidence such as all of the text messages and all of the actual statements from the group meetings that I believe Jake the Crypto King provided, where it showcased his like the whole team's motives behind the project as well as market manipulation and then everything falling apart behind the scenes. He doesn't tackle the handmade art assets being just blatantly false and provably wrong. Apparently, I didn't do the research myself, but from all the evidence, seems pretty cut and dry. He didn't tackle the actual specific claims on the project. He's going more big picture with it, but he focused in on some really small ones, I think. Again, this guy being a scammer and also getting scammed by CryptoZoo doesn't really prove a point other than this one guy is a piece of shit who also got scammed by my project. He lost money on it just like everyone else. He shouldn't have been in your video. And that's fair. Definitely not a good spokesperson giving testimonials if he's also not a good person. But it also doesn't discredit all of the true victims that are there. But he doesn't prove his innocence here either. This is still a project that should have no backers. He hired 3 fucking criminals to run it with him. There's no amount of background checking. There's no communication. Everyone did lose money on it. There is no reason that this should continue to exist. What he should do is apologize to everyone that lost money and just fucking refund their investments. Just eat shit on it and move on. If you want to continue to try and have a good reputation. Even if it wasn't designed to be a scam, which, again, all of those group chat messages as well as everything provided from Jake, I believe, Seems like from the beginning it was designed to just be a money-making exploit. But even if that wasn't the point, everyone did lose money on it. It is still in a non-functional state overall for the majority of your users. Do you think there is anything Logan can actually take legal action on? I don't think so. I don't see how he could, if I'm being honest. I don't really think there's anything necessarily defamatory about CoffeeZilla's video, and I don't think that's what he's going to go for. He's going to go for the ethical record. Like I think it is like actually illegal to record a private phone call conversation. He's going to go for that angle, talking about an illegally recorded phone call with his manager. So if he is going for something legal, I think that's the angle he'll take because he does have a leg there. But as for defamatory, I don't think so, since it was part of just like an actual open investigation that was publicized. Plus, I don't really think you're going to win as a crypto company that actually did have tons and tons and tons of victims that lost money on it. Not in Texas. It's not illegal in Texas. Is that right? I didn't know that. And CoffeeZilla's in Texas. Well, yeah, that's why that would be relevant to this. No, it's probably not about winning. It's probably just about strong arming because Logan has significantly more money to hire a legal team and bully for a long, long time. You're definitely biased though. I would have been super open to Logan Paul somehow figuring out like how to prove all of that wrong. It's just the evidence was like pretty tight. It wasn't just like circumstantial nonsense. It was like very thorough investigation, man. That's not bias. That's looking at evidence and seeing this is, not a lot of wiggle room, but I'm open to hearing. And I heard a couple of decent points. Granted, I don't think they're that strong overall. Like CoffeeZilla omitted that one of my core developers is actually a criminal. Like, okay, he didn't say that. You are right. CoffeeZilla probably knew this guy was a criminal and didn't bother mentioning it. Though I don't think mentioning it makes you look better. In fact, I think it really makes you look worse. You hired him. You did no amount of information gathering or background checking. But you're right. CoffeeZilla did mention that. That was omitted. Or CoffeeZilla not doing his research enough on this guy being a scammer. Fair enough. That is correct. But he is not someone that should have been in the testimonials as one of the victims, though, even though he probably did lose money on it. It's a scammer who got scammed. It doesn't discount the rest of the people who gave testimonials that did lose money, but you focused on one who is a bad person, apparently. That's fair enough. Yeah, CoffeeZilla probably shouldn't have had the testimonials. And then the egg hatching thing. I believe there was evidence about the egg hatching not being functional fully when the game launched. And I think in CoffeeZilla's video, he did say like they did eventually try and get that working, but it's still not in a fully functional state. But those are like the only points. And then this call being illegally recorded, which apparently is not illegal in Texas. And then he confirms what CoffeeZilla confirmed about Jake stealing, Eddie stealing, and Jeff and Logan never selling. He confirmed that. So CoffeeZilla was right. I think that was it, right? There wasn't anything else. Yeah. And then it was just about him like saying, we're working our ass off. It's going to come out. It's not a scam. Without providing any information on what exactly they're going to do differently. You're going to hire more criminals? It's just scammers scamming scammers. Yeah. That's exactly what it was internally. Again, another thing he didn't address was all of the group chats that are now public. He didn't deny them either. He just legitimately didn't even bother talking about it. Or any of their internal memos about market manipulation. And stuff for his fans who didn't watch the coffee video, though. Yeah, like it is going to be enough for the fans, and it's going to be enough for the CryptoZoo backers who are still holding on to that like false hope. Here, just going through Twitter takes real quick. This seems kind of representative of most of the hive mind on it, so I'm just going to read it. Though this is just one person's opinion, kind of echoed in different ways. Logan and his team need to be held accountable for picking horrible partners, but to say he scammed when he didn't sell is insane. Just because he didn't sell doesn't mean that it wasn't a scam. Tons and tons of people lost money, and his internal partners did sell, making millions. Who's to say Logan Paul wouldn't have sold if it kept going? Plus, all of the group chat that is now public seems to have confirmed that this whole thing was just all about making as much money as possible and as quickly as possible on a bad idea. Still a scam. Just because it doesn't sell doesn't mean it's not a scam. 100% was going to sell if it didn't happen. Yeah, but that's just speculation. I don't know. I don't know if he would have sold. I will say the reason, one thing that definitely contributed to not selling is after Jake sold and made $6 million, the price right in the shitter. So obviously he wasn't going to sell too. And then Eddie sold $1.7 million and then deeper into the shitter. So clearly he wasn't going to be selling regardless. I don't know if his intention was to sell, but it seems like the intention with the project, based on all of the group chats, was to make as much money off the audience as he could for the whole team. Didn't he make money from the egg sales? That I still don't really know. Even in CoffeeZilla, I was scratching my head because I don't know. I don't think you can say for sure whether or not he himself pocketed money off of the egg sales. That I think is still just kind of tough to say for certain. Watch the CoffeeZilla video now. It's a lot different with this context. What the fuck? He didn't context? What are you talking about? I guess in this one part where this guy giving his testimonial is untrustworthy, but other than that, it doesn't change the lens. The evidence is still there. He didn't tackle any of the evidence other than saying that one of them was unethically and illegally gathered through that recorded phone call. And that's really about it. Or that Z that he was talking to was actually a criminal that Logan hired. Like, it doesn't change the lens. How the fuck is Logan still sticking with Jeff? That I don't know. Jeff just sounds like an actually observable stupid man, like an actual stupid idiot. I don't know why he keeps Jeff around. I don't. I really don't. I actually think Logan had no idea who was being hired. It was all Jeff, but Logan's gonna still take the fall for it because he just let Jeff run rampant like a dog off the leash. Hired 2 criminals, and then those criminals hired a criminal. So then eventually they hired all 3 fucking criminals. Like, I don't know why he keeps him around. He didn't say how it was a scam. I actually think a lot of children have too much easy access to the internet. What do you mean, explain how it was a scam? Like, what do you mean? The method of scamming was gathering as much money from people, talking about how fun this game is and how you can play to earn money on this game. And then the game comes out. The game isn't in a functional state for a while. Maybe it is now, perhaps. Logan seems to insinuate that it is functional. But regardless, it is worth nothing, meaning you did not play for a while. And now when you do play, you don't earn. So you just lose money. However, his team made in total $7.7 million off of selling. It's called Pump and Dump. Now, Logan and Jeff didn't sell. That is true. That didn't happen. But just because they didn't sell doesn't mean it wasn't a scam. There's a group chat where they were talking about money-making ways through the crypto space and copying a certain project that was very lucrative. And the entire conversation was always about making money off of Logan's audience. They then even get into market manipulation tactics, talking about what's an acceptable amount to sell on any given day to not influence price too much. It's a scam. That is a scam. I don't know why I needed to break it down into the Cliff Notes for you. I don't see why that was necessary, but I hope we're all on the same page now. Now, Logan Paul is denying that this was ever the case. So he's not apologizing to all the people that lost money or anything. He's saying that with this guy stealing the code, it was a huge setback, and there's just been so much going on behind the scenes, and then Jake tanking it, and then Eddie tanking it. It's just been hard to rebuild, but he's been working super hard to bring it back. But he still is missing the big problem. Nothing was communicated to the buyers. They have been left in the dark for over a year. Logan Paul has made 2 Discord messages in a year. One of them was yo, and the other was I'm sober, shake my head. He made a 3rd Discord message 2 days ago, right before posting this video. There's nothing being conveyed to all of those people that lost a ton of money. So even if it's not, even if Logan Paul never thought it was a scam, there were very real victims that lost very real money on this project, all because of him. Do you think Logan will actually follow through with his court thing? Yes. I think 100% Logan Paul will follow through with the court thing. He has significantly more money than CoffeeZilla. He doesn't even need to win in court. He just needs to bully him. And I think that's exactly what he's going to do. 100%. Why do you think Coffee declined Logan's invite to the podcast? Because you got invited right before Christmas. And then again, right before New Year's. Who's going to want to fucking fly to LA for that on his podcast? course he's not doing that. CoffeeZilla also reached out saying, hey, let's just do it over a video call. Why did Logan decline a video call, which is significantly easier and more convenient? So he could try and intimidate him. There's plenty of reasons not to go on Logan's podcast to talk about it. I think the obvious one, Logan completely controls what actually makes it into the final cut. Like, there's nothing to be gained there. Why not just do it over a video call on a stream? Literally anything. CoffeeZilla offered just a full video voice call so they can talk about it, which is very convenient for both parties. Logan Paul didn't even mention Dink Doink. Like, yes, I know. We all know Logan Paul has had some very shady shit. But this was focused on CryptoZoo, and he didn't address the evidence-backed, all of the evidence-backed claims from CoffeeZilla. He focused on just a couple of nitpicks, really. And then the broader picture of I didn't sell, and CryptoZoo is not supposed to be a scam, and I'm committed to making it real and work and fixing it. He just posted the CryptoZoo's Twitter for the first time in a year. Yeah, the timing is really weird. That is so odd that now all of a sudden he's all in on CryptoZoo despite radio silence for a year. Just a coincidence, I'm sure. You should be pretty biased. I'm so tired of that word losing all meaning. One side had evidence, the other side didn't. It's just that simple. I was very open to hearing how Logan Paul would attack the evidence, like maybe there was holes in it, maybe things are misconstrued or misrepresented, but he didn't. He didn't even address the things with actual substantial evidence. That's the whole thing. The word bias has lost all meaning right now. He discredited a witness, and that doesn't discredit him from being a victim of the scam, by the way. How many times do I have to say it? This guy, Emilio, can be a scammer himself, have a shady past, and still have been one of the many victims of CryptoZoo. It's not mutually exclusive. But yes, I agree. He should not have been in the testimonials for the victims. In fact, if he wasn't, Logan Paul would only have a single point in this video, which is you recorded my manager being a fucking idiot without his permission, and it's illegal somewhere. There would be absolutely no grounds at all for defamation. Plus, as he even mentions, he never made any money off CryptoZoo, allegedly. And he even says he never plans to make any money off CryptoZoo. When it comes to a defamation case, you have to prove damages. What was damaged? A reputational damage, I guess? Kind of a stretch, though, because the reputational damage is from the project failing, not so much CoffeeZilla's video. You would easily be able to argue that the actual reputational hit came from delivering or never delivering a product. I just feel like that's going to be tough. I like how he calls CoffeeZilla's videos an oversimplification when it's 3 parts of a year-long investigation and you release 7 minutes and don't debunk any of his claims. Yeah, he was the one that oversimplified the situation. Before being done with the topic, there's one more thing I'd like to say, and it's right
I
here.
can help understand years of personal reform, going through trials and tribulations, and busting my ass to evolve into a person that I can say I'm actually proud of. You led the charge to drive and monetize a narrative telling millions of people that I'm a fraud or I tried to scam my audience.
So even before CoffeeZilla made this video, every single one of the investors of CryptoZoo felt like they had been scammed by a fraud named Logan Paul. CoffeeZilla told their story. They are real victims, lost real money on your project. And CoffeeZilla told their story and tried to get an explanation for what happened. This was not CoffeeZilla that started this. Even if one of those victims is shady himself, that doesn't discredit all of the other very real, normal audience members that lost money on your shit. Jake did nothing wrong. He was screwed over. There is no such thing as a Crypto King meat writer. There's no way I just read that. That has got to be a bot. No shot. That man is a serial scammer. Do I feel bad for Logan Paul and his team getting used by Jake? No. It's scammers scamming scammers. But Jake, the Crypto King, is legitimately one of the slimiest men the internet's ever had. He bounces from Pokemon scams right into NFT scams, CryptoZoo. Like, the guy sucks. But at least in this case, he scammed scammers for the most part. But that also did have the impact on normal, real people who also lost money. So fuck him. He's not some Robin Hood who stole from the rich and gave to the poor. He stole from the rich and the poor and kept it for himself. January 3rd is a date that had more importance to me than my own birthday, because that was the day Logan Paul said he was going to respond to CoffeeZilla's investigative series on his CryptoZoo project. Throughout a year-long investigation conducted by CoffeeZilla, he produced 3 videos that highlighted that CryptoZoo was a scam and told the story of tons of victims who lost money and went over how it got to that point and what went on behind the scenes. Logan Paul stated that he would be responding to all the allegations on January 3rd. And he did, in a remarkably baffling way. So January 3rd rolled around, and it was this very sad, wet part of a response from Logan Paul. He released a 7-minute video where he addressed none of the actual claims that had evidence backing them and avoided all of the actual hard-hitting facts that CoffeeZilla was providing without giving his side of anything. Instead, he just started attacking the character of CoffeeZilla and throwing out wild accusations with nothing to back up his claims in his own video, which makes him very hypocritical in that sense, such as him stating at the very beginning that CoffeeZilla is getting information wrong because he's turned into a gossip channel without ever showing any of the things he's gotten wrong recently, and then saying that he tried to work in law enforcement but was turned away for being not truthful and his work often being speculative, of which he provides no sources to where he got that. So I imagine he reached into his colon and pulled it out like a little dingleberry. So his video wasn't the best when it came to proving his innocence. So he then released a podcast episode yesterday going over it deeper. However, it's not deep at all. This shit is shallower than a micro penis. It doesn't go anywhere. It's still the very surface level shit where he doesn't actually talk about any of the evidence-backed claims that CoffeeZilla makes against him, his team, his project. It's 1 hour and 20 minutes of them trying to play the victim here, and it's so shameless at one point that he even begins reading a letter that he supposedly received from a fan that made him tear up, talking about how great of a person Logan is and how he has such a kind heart, and then Logan tears up on the podcast again. None of this has anything to do with the CoffeeZilla investigation or CryptoZoo. So it just seems like he's farming sympathy points for some reason. It's just not good at all. This is actually significantly worse than his 7-minute response video. Now, he does reinforce that he will be suing CoffeeZilla for defamation for his investigative series on CryptoZoo, which leads me to believe that Logan Paul is truly surrounded by absolute fucking troglodytes. There is nobody in Logan Paul's immediate circle that gives him good advice. A defamation case is extremely hard to win in even the best of circumstances. But you have a shady crypto company that a ton of people lost a ton of money on, and you're suing a guy who investigated it for a year and provided nothing but an unbiased, objective looks at the facts. No matter how you want to spin it, it is objective as it gets. Logan Paul seems to believe that CoffeeZilla highlighted him as a malicious, evil supervillain, which are his words, not mine. But in the actual investigation videos, you can see CoffeeZilla multiple times mentions that he can't pin the blame on any one person. In fact, focuses more highly on the other 2 people, Jake the Crypto King and Eddie Ibanez, than Logan Paul. So to win a defamation case, you not only have to prove that the information is incorrect, you have to prove that it was knowingly incorrect by the person who put it out there publicly. You have to prove there was malicious intent. You would have to somehow prove that CoffeeZilla knew all of this information was wrong, published it anyway for the sole purpose of hurting your image. And that's a very difficult thing to prove because you make tons of arguments that CoffeeZilla, even if things are wrong, which so far Logan Paul's proven nothing wrong, aside from one of the victims in the testimonials being shady. Aside from that, he's proven nothing. He would then have such a solid defense regardless because he investigated and just provided like facts of the information he gathered from Logan Paul's own team. So he would have a very strong case of, this isn't defamation. I was doing a public service by bringing all of this information to light. It's an unwinnable case for defamation, and I have to imagine Logan Paul knows that. He just wants to bully CoffeeZilla legally and cost him a lot of money to hurt him, which is fucked up. That is malicious and supervillain-like. Of course, I'm no lawyer, but I am at least somewhat familiar with how defamation cases usually go because when someone's feelings get hurt, they always try and sue for defamation for some reason. It's pretty cringe. Now, another thing that I want to mention before showing the podcast moments is Logan Paul is so delusional that he actually is using the defense of him hiring criminals makes him innocent. So in his response video, he's like, you talked to my developer that stole the code for $1 million. Did you know that that developer is actually a convicted criminal? And then showcases criminal history as if that makes Logan Paul look better or innocent. Logan, you hired 3 criminals to run this with you. That makes you look much, much worse and much more guilty. Oh, no, guys. It's not me that was bad. I hired 3 criminals. I brought together the Suicide Squad here to run this crypto company. It's them that were bad. It's not my fault. Why are you getting mad at me? I just hired the criminals. Obviously, you're responsible for the team you put together. You are liable for 2 of them stealing $7.7 million from the project here. That is your fault. I don't know why you keep falling back on, no, it's just that those criminals that did it, not me. Like, it's such a fucking stupid defense. I already did get kind of the spoilers that he really just repeats what he said in his video, which is nothing. Even in this hour and 20 long podcast, he doesn't actually debunk any of CoffeeZilla's claims.
Always trying to get attention, and now he doesn't give a fuck about us, so he's not going to speak out about it until this other dude's going to speak out, and now this is going to talk now.
Great question.
What was the question? He was just like spitting a fact. Now I know these are just like his lackeys, and his point is like this is all wrong, but it wasn't even a question. He's just like he's just like right. Like the only thing he failed to mention there is that it was a scam. But everything else, yeah, I mean, he's like, right. It's not like you were going to talk about Crypto Zoo next day or something. If CoffeeZilla never made the video telling the victim's story, this would have stayed just buried, fading into obscurity.
Here are some receipts. Again, just for context. His name's Steven. The first time he reached out to me was on Christmas Eve after he released his series.
Logan, big guy. Coffee already posted the receipts. He reached out to you directly on Instagram, which was your only means of communication, by the way, since you blocked him, over a year ago. When that was a dead end, he reached out to your manager multiple times asking to talk directly to you. Jeff left him on red. It wasn't until every other avenue was burned that he called your manager, Jeff. Those receipts were already posted. But you are right. He did reach out again on December 24th to your email, again, after exhausting everything else, again, because you have him blocked.
This is big for him. He caught a lot of traction. He gained like 500,000 subscribers. And I'm sure he got a decent amount of money pumping his Patreon. But I am not interested in feeding into that anymore. So we'll be answering the questions that hopefully he was going to ask me and that you're going to ask me today on this podcast.
But that's just so transparently weak. Your offer was for him to fly out to your studio to do it. So couldn't the same argument be made for you? Like, that's not a strong point that you, for some reason, harp on so heavily. His offer was to just do a general video call. In fact, CoffeeZilla doesn't even do those interviews, video calls on his main channel. He does it on a secondary platform. So it wouldn't even be milking views or anything out of it. It's literally just getting the truth.
Hey, Steven, just wanted to put my response to your scam allegations on your radar, link below. Even though you broke laws, fabricated dangerously misleading falsehoods, and wrongfully accused me of scamming my fans, I'd still love to host you on Impulsive, again, unmonetized. Can even be one on.
Hardly substantiated your evidence. I'm going to give him leeway on the breaking laws because even I didn't realize Texas was a one-party consent law when it came to recording conversations on the phone. So he didn't break laws. So that's blatantly wrong, but I'm going to give him leeway because I also didn't realize that that was legal in Texas. But this, fucking yikes. And fabricated, dangerously misleading falsehoods. What, talking to your team of criminals, like directly? What do you mean?
Someone scams a person or an organization, they deceive them in order to get something valuable for them, especially money. That is the definition of scam. So my first question, and this question was answered in his series, it was a 5-second blip that was a part of a probably hour-long documentary, filmmaking, was how much money did you make off the sale of the coin?
Oh, no. Oh, this is so much worse than I would have expected. Just because Logan didn't make the money doesn't mean it wasn't a scam. You know who did make money and 7.7 million's worth? Two of the other criminals he hired to run it with him, Mike. Yes, it is a scam, even though Logan didn't make the money off of it. Holy shit. I am going to assume this had to have been recorded a week ago or longer. There's no way he recorded this and released it today. after his response video and the reception and all of the points made about it. I refuse to believe he is that blissfully ignorant of what's going on. This has to be old. This is wildly bad. This is just he's supposed. So the setup he's doing here is Coffee refused to come on Impulsive, so instead I'm gonna have my sidekick here make up easy softball questions that we think CoffeeZilla may have asked if he was lobotomized. And then Logan tackles those easy ones. For instance, what is a scam? Well, by the definition of a scam, Logan, did you make money off of this? And I already know the answer. Well, no, Mike. In fact, CoffeeZilla even corroborated this. I never sold the coin. That doesn't mean it's not a scam, Logan.
Yeah, this seems to be the biggest misconception, and it is.
It's not a misconception. We know you didn't
it's
sell.
disappointing that part was glossed over so quickly. Made no money off CryptoZoo.
Never
sold
claimed
the
you did.
token.
Said you
Jeff
didn't.
Never sold the token.
He said he didn't.
Only lost money trying to make things right.
Also said you did.
Along with everyone else in the project. But
except for Jake and the other criminal,
money.
Eddie.
No tokens were sold.
Except by those two.
And CoffeeZilla even said that in his series.
Exactly.
So to answer your question, yeah. No money was made by Jeff or I.
And
thus, everything CoffeeZilla said was accurate. Like, what the fuck? What the fuck? Doesn't mean it's not a scam, bro. Talk about the leaked group texts about how this was supposed to just emulate another lucrative project to exploit your fans for money as quickly as possible off as minimal effort as possible. And then talk about all the meeting memos about market manipulation and what's an acceptable amount to sell on any given day for the percentage increase or for the percentage effect on the overall tokenomics. Get into the market manipulation stuff from the actual group chats, man. That's what I'd like to hear.
that seemed just like a kill shot to this entire thing.
Yeah, maybe. If your brain is very smooth, I suppose. Well, everyone may have lost money, and the entire goal may have been to just exploit us for money, but Logan didn't sell. So I guess we weren't scammed. I can see how your mind worked in that way, Mike.
I'm fucking frustrated. I've been frustrated for over a year. So I'll let you keep
frustrated
going
he doesn't do anything
again,
about it.
While we made no money on the project, which I think kills the scam narrative immediately, there is more explaining to do.
What was your
Jesus
intent with CryptoZoo?
Post actively on Reddit hybrid animals, and the hybrid animals thread on Reddit is hilarious and has a bunch of likes and people commenting on it. But the moment that I say it's something that I'm doing, it doesn't work in that context.
I think it was shined in a bad light. I think if it didn't have the negative outline on it, people
No.
The fuck are you talking about? It was stock images. It has nothing. Even if the art was bad, if it was clear it was actually custom art by real artists, then the critique would just be, yeah, the art's kind of lame. The critique is the handmade art claim is wrong, as in you're using stock images. What is he talking about? His claims were literally handmade art, and he talked about how many artists he had on the team. But it was revealed that it was mainly stock photos. Now, the hybridization of the art with a panda with a long elephant nose, maybe you had someone drum that up in 5 minutes in Photoshop, I guess. But like, even that's a stretch. Discussion he has that's insightful at all. I know that he says that CoffeeZilla is milking victims of his scam, which is a wild thing to say. Just get over it. You lost money. Stop milking it. That is what. Where is that actually? I'll pull that up in case you haven't seen that. Where in this podcast is it?
Is at each other. When all this broke, when we were in Qatar, I'll kind of remember this. We were in the spa one day, and I saw the pain in here. And this, like I said, this is not going to turn into a fucking victim thing. I just want to tell. I saw this pain in your face, bro, and this like emptiness in your fucking eyes when all this was breaking.
So that wasn't the milking part, but that was embarrassing. Jesus Christ, Mike. Logan, when we were in Qatar in that spa, surrounded by topless women drinking expensive champagne, I looked over, you checked your phone, CoffeeZilla made a video with your name in it. You knew it was about CryptoZoo, and I saw through the windows of your soul, I saw your heart broke, Logan. So I did what any good friend would do. I put your whole stack into my mouth, and I didn't want to, Logan. Trust me, I didn't want to. But I put it in my mouth where it was nice and warm, and I knew I could comfort you in this time of need. And I'm not trying to play, I'm not trying to make it seem like the victim, but it ruined her entire vacation, CoffeeZilla. All of it. Ruined it. Ruined it.
Is one of the most painful fucking things in the entire world. It's
where
terrible.
Where Coffee fucked up is by targeting me as some malicious, evil supervillain. If he had told this story objectively.
Did you watch the video? I have to wonder. I actually thought he did a really great job of talking about the other ones as being the really malicious supervillains and you being the bumbling buffoon. You played the comic relief of the scam, Logan. I have to wonder if he even watched it. Coffee is very heavily on Crypto King and Eddie. You were just the dummy, like the actual fucking dummy. You said harmonica and jelly.
And told the story.
It was as objective as it could be.
Vilifying me. Regardless, we're still making this right. But in my opinion, that's where it got twisted and hurt the most. Dude. I'm sitting in the seat solely because of my fans. I love them. I'll take any picture you want, unless I'm at dinner. That's my one rule. Call on these.
You love your fans so much, give them their money back. Easy. Your fans mean so much to you. Wow, you do so much. You take a picture when they ask, holy fuck, what a saint. Give them their money back. Prove it. Give them their money back. But like, let's say it is 5 or 6 mil. Logan Paul with Prime alone makes that in like a week. People are fighting each other in the UK for Prime. He can absolutely afford just to give that back. Be like, you know what, guys, I really do care about you. This isn't just lip service. This wasn't supposed to be a scam. Things got out of control. You lost money. Real people were hurt. And I can't live with that anymore. I'm giving you your investments back. And since it's on the blockchain, you have the ledger. You can easily see who invested what, so you don't get scammed by people pretending to be investors. And you could easily just give them it back and make it whole. But he won't. He could afford to, though. 100% he could afford to. No, but Charlie, he takes pictures with his fans. That's a good point. A picture is worth more than the millions of dollars that they've lost. Hey, babe. I know I lost money with Dink Doink from Logan Paul last time. Well, I did it again with CryptoZoo, but I got this dope ass picture with him. Like, look at how happy we look together. What do you mean you're leaving?
Not kidding. The guy's good. He's very smart. He's very smart. He manipulates and twists the truth just the way he wants to get his people to believe a certain thing. He's good.
I think
it's marketing in a way, hiding behind the veil of, I don't make money off this platform. I'm doing God's work. I'm doing justice. By the way, go sign up to my Patreon. Go join my Patreon. We're gonna.
Which fucking goober laughed at that? Like, this is a bad point anyway. He should be making money from his work. Not to quote the Joker, because that's turbo cringe, but if you're good at something, don't do it for free. Like, he's the best goddamn investigator the platform has. He should be making money from it. I don't see how that's a critique. What's the criticism there? He did these investigations and he makes money. He can't be trusted.
And that's where this also gets tricky, because I'm not sure what he's fabricating or if people are genuine about what they're saying, because he doesn't verify backgrounds or, like I said, substantiate any evidence. So he's probably.
Do you not believe there's victims?
Put people who have lost here on a pillar and highlight them. That's what I would do on him. I'd milk the shit out of this, and like I said, he's probably going to. He's good. He's very good.
They called victims, Logan.
Part 6 is the more he says, and the more he continues to spread this misinformation that this was any sort of con or scam, the more I have for the lawsuit that I am filing. The defamation.
I do. The disconnect in his brain is wild, because he puts it on this lens like the guy, CoffeeZilla, is just someone that doesn't like him, as opposed to a guy who investigated this fully. So he truly believes that everyone that he showcases and every story he tells has to be by a paid actor, and can't comprehend that real people lost a lot of money from his project. Or maybe he can and he pretends to be stupid. Couldn't really tell you. But yeah, he just talks about the people losing money as being milked, or them milking it. Yeah, you got scammed. Get over it. I think I really do think Stan's had the best take on it. Like, if he was Logan Paul's guy, he would have advised to just ignore it. And he's absolutely right. I thought the right play would just be make everyone hooligan, refund them. I think that's the morally correct thing to do. But if Logan just wanted the easiest way and just to get out of this as quickly as possible, if he never said anything, he would have been fine, actually. But now he's posted this on both of his main platforms, Logan Paul channel and now Impulsive. All of the audience is now aware of this. Now they've probably watched CoffeeZilla's video. And with all of that evidence, they're going to look at Logan Paul and be like, fuck, this guy hasn't proven his innocence at all. He hasn't even mentioned any of the claims. So he really fucked himself. If he had just ignored it, his audience would have never known, never cared, and he would have been in the same situation. He would have been fine. His fans are definitely not watching CoffeeZilla's video. I disagree. So I actually, since now he's posted it 2 times, I'm gonna be like, what is he talking about? What are these scam allegations? I bet it's a bunch of baloney, a bunch of fucking barnacles. Logan would never do that. Let me see what this is. And they'll watch it for even a second, like hate watch it. But then Coffee immediately starts making points and they're like, interesting. His audience, no. I don't know. Maybe I'm now skewed on what I think his audience is after the CoffeeZilla videos, because everyone that he interviewed that got scammed for a lot of money was not a kid. They were young adults. So maybe I'm under the false idea that his audience is older than they are. I always thought he had like a Disney Channel audience, but after the CoffeeZilla investigation, I became convinced they were older. Plus, he's in the WWE now, which is mainly older audience. So I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong fully. What I wanted is for him to actually tackle the evidence. I would really like to hear from his side, if there is one. Right now, I'm starting to genuinely doubt he has any legs to stand on there on this situation. But who knows? You didn't see him push Prime at the end.
You look like a
Prime needed an extra push. It's only on his goddamn phone case on the table, them drinking it constantly, them fiddling with it constantly. Yeah, it needed that extra push. Yeah, surely I needed to see that. Oh, yeah, you know what time it is. It's time to roll on out of bed, get a good stretch, get some cereal in your system, sit down and see the latest in the Logan Paul CryptoZoo scam situation. I don't think there's any need for a Dragon Ball Z recap of what's happened up till this point. I think we all know, but I'll give you the briefest rundown. YouTuber CoffeeZilla exposed Logan Paul for a massive crypto scam he was running, telling the story of many victims who lost tons and tons of money on it. A lot of information came out about exactly how horrible this situation was. Logan Paul hiring literal criminals to run it with him who stole $7.7 million. And after CoffeeZilla released this series of investigative videos, Logan Paul responded with threats against CoffeeZilla, talking about taking him to court. He then made a podcast episode doubling down on everything he was saying. He never defended himself. He didn't attack any of the claims. He didn't provide any evidence to prove that he's innocent. He just kind of kicked in the door, walked up like the Undertaker. He's like, CoffeeZilla, he's a sham. He's a little man. And just like a little man does, he does little man things. I'm a big boy. I'm Logan Paul. So fuck that guy. And and that's it. Like, that's his whole thing. He just kept attacking CoffeeZilla's character without ever even addressing the evidence that he provided. So obviously the first 2 responses didn't go over well with anyone at all. Not a single soul on this planet. So after that happened, he released a 3rd apology video where the attitude was very different. He was singing a completely different tune. He backpedaled on everything he said about CoffeeZilla, even thanked him for the investigation, said he's dropping the lawsuit, which is probably the smartest thing he's ever decided to do, because his face would have been used as toilet paper to wipe everyone's ass in court if he actually went through with that defamation case idea. But anyway, after the apology video was posted by Logan, CoffeeZilla responded to it last night, going over some of the things that he talked about that are good, that are actually helping some victims that were affected by the scam, but also some things that really fell flat. So I think it's a very interesting breakdown, and I think it's a very fitting conclusion, and I still hope that more is done to help the victims of his massive scam. This is definitely a step in the right direction. The gift that just keeps on giving. So this is the follow-up to everything. Logan Paul made his big statement talking about like that $1.3 million. Well, you know what? I'm sure CoffeeZilla will cover all of it here.
Well, it's finally over. Logan Paul apologized.
CoffeeZilla, your slime.
And we all forgave
him. Lopsided journalist with.
Turns out it's actually on his secondary channel. That's why I couldn't find it. It's entitled "Thank You, CoffeeZilla." It's the third response from Logan Paul.
I love this intro. CoffeeZilla's coming out here with the fangs out. He's got his claws drawn. Yeah, I mean, third time's the charm though for Logan. He really nailed it on this one. He's a saint again, back in our good graces. I bought 5 bottles of Prime just to celebrate. He's a new man.
CoffeeZilla is not a criminal.
Oh, that's a relief. I thought Logan was going to hire me. But in all seriousness, this video does have some major admissions in it I want to go through.
Bang.
Logan
Actual banger.
I called him. I apologized. Initial response to his series was that of fire, an ego.
Not only that, Logan also pledges a $1.3 million refund plan for people who bought his NFTs. In addition to that, he also promises to finish CryptoZoo, which was left abandoned.
And then
he should just hire that YouTuber that did it in 4 hours. Call it a day. Just, I paid this YouTuber an exposure to finish my crypto scam for me so I can continue to make more money off of this.
For example, I think if you are an outsider who is not affected by this scam, you wanted a reason to love Logan Paul again, I think this nails it. I mean,
that was one of the main things I said when he posted that. If you weren't affected by the scam, you don't know anyone that was affected by the scam, him posting this makes it very easy for you to be a fan again, kind of guilt-free. Like, oh, okay, so some people got scammed, but look at how well he handled himself in this third apology video. So we can just move on past this. I'm not offended anymore. So I don't care if you guys are. I've forgiven him for you guys. So we're good.
Flat, because he doesn't adequately address the real victims of CryptoZoo, which I think they're rightfully angry about. And I wanted to spend some time talking about that because, again, they've been the heartbeat of this whole story, and they feel very differently about this response than Logan's core audience does.
Yeah,
they don't feel
that
like
sounds
nothing.
about right.
And I want to talk about starting with the $1.3 million repayment plan. It doesn't even apply to the holder of Zoo coins at all. You get nothing if you bought this in-game currency. This refund only applies to current egg holders. So they can cash out that NFT for the initial mint price in crypto, which matters sort of because crypto has crashed a lot. So even though people...
Just to slide on in between butt cheeks here, I'd like to further clarify on the repayment plan. It is good that there is something that some victims can tap into to get some money back, but it's not all of it. It's not every victim, and it's actually only in specific cases for people that were affected by this. So with this $1.3 million repayment plan, it covers some losses for some people, but not all of it. And since crypto has crashed, the value of all of it's very different now. So people aren't going to be made whole, but at least it's something going back to some of the victims, which rarely happens in cases like this where a giant scam comes crumbling down. 9 times out of 10, it just results in the scammer being like, you entered the poop zone, you should have expected to get a little shit. You know, and they just move on and just never talk about it again. So at least there is something coming back, but of course, it's not all of it.
The Zoo coins were most of this scam. I mean, that's where most of the money was spent. It wasn't just on the NFTs. It was on this in-game currency, which Logan seems to have no intention of refunding. And his response for why is pretty bad. He responds to somebody who lost $80,000 who told him, I hope this isn't just doing what you have to do technically to not get sued.
Oh, goodness gracious. Jinkies. 80K in Zoo shitties? Oh, Ruben. Oh, that is painful. Oh, goodness.
Logan replies with a screenshot of his white paper and later explains to
Wait, hold on. Let me read that. Replying with just a picture from your terms of service or whatever is always just such a douchey thing. Because Zoo was created to support CryptoZoo and was not intended to be an investment vehicle, the contract doesn't include incentives for liquidity providing, although the largest, and then cuts off. Okay, so it's just eat shit, loser. Should have read.
Paper, and later explains to another member of the Discord, I believe there has been a misconception here. as outlined in the white paper, Zoo was created to support CryptoZoo and was not intended to be an investment vehicle. When you sold or bought is not my decision. And look, to be fair to him, there was a misconception that Zoo was an investment vehicle, but it's a misconception that he created.
And he's also not wrong. You shouldn't have bought in the first place. Like, I don't know what drew you to it to begin with. You must really love a picture of eggs and a picture of some animals. He is not wrong. He wasn't the one that forced you to buy in and waste 80,000 doubloons on it. But very douchey, considering you were the one that scammed him and got him to bite into it.
Based strictly on the value of an investment vehicle. Quote, rules for selling.
Market manipulation.
Until a $200 million market cap. So I think it's fair to say if Logan's own team were buying Zoo coins early, waiting for them to go up in value to a certain level and then selling them, that sounds like an investment vehicle, albeit a very stupid one. Be, quote, abandoned. Will everyone who minted be able to get that refund or just the current owners? Now, in reply to this, someone in the Discord said, if you sell, you lose common investing knowledge.
Or if you invest in CryptoZoo, you lose common sense knowledge. But I mean, again, that is a cold, hard fact that he just dropped onto the table. He slapped his meat down and said, if you bought into this, you sold, you lost. He is correct. But it is still, once again, Logan's fault because he peddled a non-functional scam that was abandoned for a fucking year and a half.
And Logan replies, seeming to agree with this idea. In another Discord exchange, Logan says, please do not put any more money into CryptoZoo, which, by the way, is quite reasonable to say.
Yeah,
but then somebody follows up and says, guys, can someone explain what he said with not investing? But rather than replying, oh, guys, I just meant like I don't want anyone else losing money, or, you know, I don't want anyone else recklessly gambling. Logan replies instead, quote, I will no longer be the scapegoat for anyone's financial decision.
Woe is me. Oh, man, I'm so tired of being the scapegoat for my scam. Damn. The Matrix is out to get me here, and I'm tired of it. No more of this. It's your fault that you fell for my scam, idiots.
He doesn't seem to see anything wrong with advertising a game that will make you money, it never delivering, millions of dollars being stolen by criminals he hired. And then when all of those people want their money back, he feels like he's the scapegoat. Like, oh, these guys shouldn't have believed me when I advertised to them a fun game that will make you money.
True.
Does it make any sense?
How could these fools have played into my trap when it was so obvious that it was a fake garbage scam to begin with? Why should I feel empathy for these plebeians? I hired 3 criminals to run this and they stole from me. I'm the victim, not these pores that put money into my shit. So why should I be bothered to help them? Fuck you guys.
I mean, Logan had a simple job to do. All he had to do was just come out, apologize, get as much money back for the victims as possible. But he himself can't help but play the victim here. In fact, that's the third example of how Logan might really feel, because Logan tweeted right before his response. He says,
That
quote,
shit was
the
awesome.
Matrix is real. Pray you never become its target. Now, I guess he's trying to channel Andrew Tate here unsuccessfully, basically saying like,
Andrew Tate even fucking
I'm
dunked on him
attacked,
for it.
not because I did anything wrong or scammed anyone. I'm just too much of a truth teller. I'm just an enemy of the system. That's
Yeah,
why I must
he
be getting
revealed
attacked.
too much.
But if that's the case, we then have to wonder, who's the Matrix though, Logan? Like, is it your fans who got robbed? Who are the agents coming after you? I know it's not me.
So I'll explain it. Logan, with his back against the wall, does what he does best. He tries to parrot literally anyone else's belief. All he did was grift into something that he thought might be able to earn him some points to get out of it. So he went with the Matrix angle because it's such a hot button thing with Tate and all that. What he failed to realize is that literally no one is on his side. So that became even more of a goofy, delusional attempt at saving face. The guy scammed point blank, hired 3 criminals, which he himself admits, and he still had the gall, the chutzpah, to try the Matrix angle, which even summoned the Matrix man himself, Andrew Tate, to shit on him for it publicly, further burying Logan's head in his ass. It's such a poetic disaster of PR He couldn't make a good move. I actually still do believe Logan Paul doesn't have any thoughts of his own. I don't actually think he believes anything in his own mind. He just tries to pander, and he chooses any position that is the easiest and most potentially safe position to take.
I didn't want to release it at the time because I thought there was a better chance at getting a good ending for the victims here if I was a bit more diplomatic with Logan at this critical juncture when he was deciding whether he was going to give money back or not.
At the end of the day, the whole purpose behind this entire thing was telling the victim story, so anything that could result in them getting their money back is the optimal outcome. That'd be mission accomplished.
Which, by the way, I think some of them are. In fact, I just saw a lawyer on YouTube, Attorney Tom. He's going to start the legal process going after Logan using stuff like the arbitration clause in their terms of service. So just wanted to say, if you're a victim of CryptoZoo, it's your support that made all the difference and got the victims at least something. So that wraps it up. Thank you for watching.
Imagine Logan comes out and just like, you know what? Fuck you guys. You didn't suck my dick hard enough for my benevolent actions here. I am going to sue CoffeeZilla. Fuck you. I feel like it'll happen. It won't. He knows there's no shot he can do that. He would lose even more should he decide to, for some reason, reignite the lawsuit. Just a bullying tactic he never intended to sue. Well, the tactic isn't the threat of a lawsuit. The bullying tactic is when people like that have a lot of money, they can take it to the next step and cost you money to defend yourself. That's the bullying. It's financial bullying through the lawsuit. So I'm just saying, I'm going to sue you. Well, it doesn't really do anything. Now you just look like a weak bitch. You didn't. The tactic that's been used by other YouTubers like BritBoy is, I'm suing you, and then you take it to the next level where you actually do start putting in the paperwork. So then it adds not only a financial burden with getting a lawyer to represent you, which costs money, it then takes mental toll because of the stress of having to defend yourself legally against someone like that. So that's where the actual bullying is. Or BitBoy Crypto. Sorry, not BritBoy. my bad. That's where that comes in. Oh, Carl is another great example. Billy Mitchell going after Carl. That's another example of that same tactic that's being used. Yeah, Billy Mitchell is notorious for using that. I'm sure you've at least heard by now that Logan Paul was caught with his pants down, exposed for one of the largest scams ever run by an influencer. This was all brought to light by the finest detective YouTube has ever had, a channel known as CoffeeZilla. I've talked about CoffeeZilla more than Amy Schumer's talked about her vagina. I can't get enough of his content, and I can't recommend his channel highly enough. It is beautiful stuff. He's like a real-world L from Death Note. But instead of solving murder mysteries, he's solving scams. He's become a boogeyman to any fraudster online where if he knocks on your door, they run to the basement and hide, like Batman striking fear into the hearts of criminals. And recently, he set his sights on Logan Paul. This is actually an investigation that's been going on for an extremely long time. CoffeeZilla has spent at least a year going through every single detail of this case and getting all sides, talking to the people that helped develop it, as well as people affected by it, and even core members of the team that were in the know on what was going on from the beginning of this project, from the goddamn birth of it. From the very beginning, CoffeeZilla has talked to one of the people that helped bring this project to life, like at the genesis of CryptoZoo. Now, to break it down into a nutshell, CryptoZoo was supposed to be a play-to-earn crypto game where you buy a shitcoin called Zoo, which you use to purchase an NFT egg, which hatches into stock photos of animals. And then you can like breed those stock photos of animals into more stock photos. That's the entire gameplay loop. You look at fucking PNG stock photos of animals that combine like a whale with a frog. That's it. And where you can earn money is by burning those PNGs that you get. And then you can get Zoo in return, claim your yield. It sounds like the worst game ever fucking made. It's a worse game than Super Fight, which was a $200 Steam game that was a single level and only 30 seconds of gameplay. I'd have more fun watching my own car catch on fire with all of my shit inside of it than playing Crypto Zoo. But it was never designed to be a game that's fun to play. From the very beginning, it was clearly designed to be a money-making scam to exploit Logan Paul's massive audience. And the game also never even worked. And to this day, over a year later, still doesn't work. You were never able to actually play, and you were never able to actually earn. Unless, of course, you were one of the founders from the beginning. Because then there were a couple of founders that made a lot of money, including a cameo from someone you might be familiar with from previous scams, Jake the Crypto King, known for his Pokemon scam back in the day. He's back. I said on stream that this whole thing feels like the series finale to Logan Paul's career, where all the side characters come in together for one big final oorah, like an episode where they bring in everyone to celebrate the end of the show. It is crazy just how deep this Crypto Zoo rabbit hole goes. I don't want to spoil anything, but yes, Agent 47 is back, and he is once again a very shady and big piece of shit in this whole thing. There are no good guys on the Crypto Zoo team. I don't want to get too deep into it because CoffeeZilla tells the whole story, but let me just give you the cliff notes here to get you hooked. This not only has scams galore, it even has fake orphans. It has a man who claims to have won the Super Bowl with the Philadelphia Eagles in 2018, despite never having even been associated with football in any capacity. The same guy also claiming to have been like a CIA operative, as well as hacking AOL. There's market manipulation. There's betrayal with the founding fathers of Crypto Zoo stabbing each other in the back repeatedly. It just plays out like a soap opera, but was real. Like, even the scammers were scamming each other. So not only were normal people getting fucked in the mouth and losing money on this completely fraudulent product, but even the scammers were scamming each other. Like, it was just pure pandemonium and chaos. There was even a point where the code got stolen and taken to Switzerland, held hostage for $1 million ransom. Like, the web here is so wild and wacky. It is an unreal journey. And I don't want to spoil it all here. I highly recommend you watch the entire 3-part series from CoffeeZilla. I'm only going to be showing you the first part here that I watched it over to get the bare bones breakdown of the situation, as well as setting the stage, the foundation for the whole investigation going forward. It is just such an incredible ride. CoffeeZilla has truly outdone himself with this investigation, and I'm extremely excited to see how Logan Paul defends it, because the evidence that CoffeeZilla showcases seems pretty bulletproof. It seems like there's not a whole lot of wiggle room for excuses or any kind of justification for anything in regards to Crypto Zoo. But of course, on January 3rd, Logan Paul has hyped up that his response is coming on his podcast, which to me just really just feels like an advertisement more than anything. But I will, of course, withhold full judgment until I hear his side, since he hasn't been very open to sharing his side for the last year. This has been like my most anticipated show of the entire year. CoffeeZilla's 3-part deep dive into Logan Paul's crypto scam, Crypto Zoo. So I'm extremely excited, and I'm super happy to see CoffeeZilla so hard on this. He's gained like almost 400,000 subs since posting these videos, something like that, and he deserves it. I know he spent quite a few months investigating this. I know he's also reached out to Logan Paul numerous times to try and get his side of the story, but has been dodged and ducked every single time until he finally posted this video. Saw Logan Paul's tweet saying, actually, I'll just pull it up instead of paraphrasing. He did the standard, I used to love CoffeeZilla, and I always think he gets everything right until now. Now he fucked up. Like, this is very cookie cutter. Somehow, every single time CoffeeZilla talks about some kind of big scam like this is always the response. While I generally appreciate Steven's creative genius and exceptional work ethic, I mean that, this one is simply not true. When appropriate, all bad actors will be exposed, explained, and held fully accountable. I'll speak further on Impulsive January 3rd, which to me reads more like an advertisement for his podcast than anything. But I always just love this first line because this is boilerplate at this point. This is what everyone says when CoffeeZilla makes a video about them. A creative genius, one of the best in the business, ace detective, like Benoit Blanc. But this time he fucked up. Trust me. This time he's wrong.
I lost $25,000.
$120,000.
This is absolutely shocking to me. These aren't children. You're telling me these adults watch Logan Paul, or did they had to have just heard about this from like crypto subreddits, discords, all trying to like hype train the shit out of this? I refuse to believe that this is Logan Paul's audience. No fucking shot.
$500,000 Australian, which is $500,000 in crypto zoo.
Shut up!
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, 500K.
Today, we're investigating Logan Paul's
Yikes.
blockchain game that made millions but never worked. And of course, at the center of it, we have Logan Paul himself, who has abandoned this
WWE superstar, baby.
orphans in his wake. Wait a second. Thousands of victims in his wake.
For the last 6 months, I've been working on my own NFT project. We have a massive team behind it. And
Real quick, you might be asking yourself, what experience does Logan Paul have with NFTs? And that's a great question to be asking, and I have the answer. He was actually a pioneer in NFTs, and in fact still has some of the best NFTs of all time, such as are these still up on OpenSea? Well, here's his NFT Pokemon cards. Beautiful stuff. Very high quality stuff, and I mean only $10,000 for that. So I mean reasonably priced as well. Where are his? He used to sell clips, so you could pay thousands of dollars to get an NFT clip of him boxing, which was a fucking bargain. Honestly, just giving it away at that price. You get 15-second Twitter clips of his boxing matches. Where are they?
September 1st, cryptozoo.co.
We don't scam. I've never scammed anyone before. Logan cares extremely deeply about his audience, loves his brand, doesn't have to scam to make money.
True, but you make a lot of money doing it, I imagine. So,
welcome to
the
part
cookie
one,
jar
the
was
$1
too
million
appealing.
mystery that began this whole story.
For the last 6 months, I've been working on my own NFT project. I think the fresh take in this project that I have is that fresh take.
Now look, at first,
Yep,
I was
let's
just as
go.
surprised at this pitch as anyone else because I got finished roasting Logan for a different coin called Dink Doink, which is famous for making money on.
I'm a Dink Doink fan.
And it wasn't even a project at all. It was a game that could earn you money.
I'm excited to launch.
Called Pay to
You
Earn.
keep using a and you
Or
just did it
Jesus,
again.
Play
You
to
used a
Earn.
word there. Game. You're not using like a project. It's a game.
It's a game. It's a really fun game that makes you money.
You started by buying this crypto token called Zoo, which is their in-game currency. And you use Zoo coins to then buy egg NFTs, which you can then hatch to become animals. You then can breed those two animals to become hybrid animals. For example, if you breed a gorilla,
What a fun
and
sounding
you
game.
get a gore kitty. And the more rare the NFT, the
I get to
higher the
breed
daily
animals?
yield
Sign
of
me
Zoo
up.
tokens that animal earns every day. Theoretically, it works like almost like passive income. You can then burn your animal NFTs to release the Zoo they earned back to you. And from there, you can invest it into eggs or just cash out. Now, some of you of the Egyptian persuasion might notice some triangular qualities.
No, that's a
to this game
coincidence.
description.
We handmade art for the past 6 months, bro. Approval, very specific notes, 10 different artists making art for our project.
That doesn't
I'll
sound like a
admit,
lot of
this
artists.
all sounds
for that.
very enticing. Handmade art, a
Not
fun
really.
game that can earn you.
It's not enticing.
One of the biggest influencers in the world backing it.
It was Logan Paul at the end of the day, an internet personality that I actually trusted. That I
Why?
actually
What did?
believed
What,
in.
well, I feel terrible that happened to you, but what? What in the history of Logan Paul has earned anyone's trust ever? Like, I can't think of anything he's ever done that was honest. Like, I legitimately can't. Except for him saying that he made a repeated lapse in his judgment when he filmed a dead body. Like, that's like the only thing I can think of with like honesty associated with Logan Paul. But yeah, I mean, Prime did come out. I've tried it. I mean, it's a real drink. I wasn't instantly poisoned or anything. It was fine. I actually thought it was good. But I'm just going to chalk that up to KSI. I'm just going to say KSI did everything because I legitimately have no trust in Logan.
But as the game got closer to release, the CryptoZoo team started releasing first ever photos of these animals. And come to find out, this handmade art story wasn't really true. It was actually Adobe stock photos mashed together. This is the sort of first red flag of this project. I made a video about it at the time, but it was kind of surface level, and something didn't add up beneath the surface. Something where I just couldn't, and it's not handmade at all. It's not even original. It's what's called a fork, a copy of, you know, some other code that exists out there. One of them is called Floki Shib X, which launched before it. So where did this $1 million go? I didn't understand.
There never was.
Wait. Play that again. Did you hear that?
There was no way to claim your yield. There never was.
Hold on.
I can't
the core
believe it.
mechanic of crypto
What?
that you can make money with these stupid animals didn't even work on launch day. And still, to this day, a year later, still does not work.
So I acquired a bunch of eggs, and I actually want to play the game. I didn't acquire the eggs with the intent of keeping them. I actually wanted to hatch them and see what I got out of them and play in this ecosystem that's
I am sorry this happened to you, my friend. What compelled you to want to play this game? There is no game. The game is you buy an egg, and then we give you a stock photo of what this animal might look like with a goofy nose. What is the game? Like, the only reason anyone would have ever put money into this is off the hope that they're somehow able to make a payday out of it, like cash in their yield for some kind of profit. There is no like actual game mechanics. It is, here's a couple pictures you can look at. That's it. That's it. Just the worst Pokemon. It's not even a Pokemon at all. Like, even, let's take a card game. Even a card game has game mechanics. You play against someone. There is a goal. There is something you do. There is an actual gameplay element to it. Here, the gameplay is you hatch an egg, and we combine this photo of a moose with a photo of my cat, and that's it. And that now you have played our game, and now you can either choose to keep that picture and hope it appreciates its value, you know, yield some more zoo, or you burn it to acquire zoo. Those are your two options, neither of which constitute a game. Jesus Christ.
It's never been up.
Wait, you can't even hatch?
No, I'm telling you, it's just a picture. There's nothing I can do with it.
You're kidding.
That's the whole game. It's just a picture. Even when you can't hatch, it's just another picture.
You can ask any of this community guys. It's basically worth nothing whatsoever.
Wow. So on launch day, basically nothing worked. And a year later, that's still true. Now, after this was discovered, the price of Zoo fell 63% in just 24 hours. CryptoZoo already got millions in investments, but Logan only speaks in the Discord twice over the next year to say, quote, sober, currently shaking my head, and yo. That was his contribution
Let's go.
to this project. Meanwhile,
That's
his
pretty cool.
community manager, Ben Roth,
Because surely Logan Paul, who's got this $1 billion hydration company and a WWE star, he's got enough money. Doesn't need to rug us lot.
and it's because of these false promises about marketing that these poor investors believed in CryptoZoo so long. They sat and watched every
It actually
Logan
is
Paul
very
episode.
impressive how far you can get when people just believe that you're too wealthy to exploit them. Like, if someone just believes you have so much money, that for some reason makes you trustworthy. That's wild to me, because I'd always think it's the fucking opposite.
Too much of this is out, but he's been working on a massive project.
And the one of them will be the biggest thing I ever do. It'll be it's like my life and soul is put into this project. Which is where most of my time these days goes.
I'll tell you about this project when we get closer to launch.
Yeah.
This project when it's
Is
good.
that the thing with the egg? Like the zoo?
No.
Okay, that's one.
No, that shit sucks. That shit is garbage. I can't believe you guys bought that.
One of
Holy
these
fuck, it was
investors.
awful.
And Logan Paul
Yeah,
pitching
that was
this
a joke.
secret project, and you're thinking it's CryptoZoo, and someone's like, "Oh, is it that thing with the eggs?" And he's like, "No, definitely not. That was the last project. This is the real project that I'm working on."
Much going on behind the scenes. Like, Doug, I'm not the bad guy here.
Yeah.
There's some actual out there.
Yeah.
And it's not me. Like, I'm here to build.
Oh, okay.
This
Well,
is
now,
a space
well,
where
that's
a lot of people
okay. Well, now I
do
believe
see
you.
dollar signs. Like any burgeoning industry, if there's money to be made, there's going to be both good and bad people. There's a
Okay,
lot of
well, at
shady
least we set the
characters in
record
crypto
straight.
space. I'm learning all of it. We had an issue. Took the code that he made, fled to Switzerland, actually fled to Switzerland, and like held it hostage for $1 million. Like behind the scenes drama that like took
took a stick and stuck it in the spokes of my wheels.
Oh, well, that wasn't expected. There's a shady developer who held up Logan's code hostage in Switzerland. That's why this hasn't worked the whole time. He held it hostage for $1 million. Well, find out the truth of what happened. Why did he steal Logan's code for $1 million? However,
that's what I really appreciate about CoffeeZilla. Such a stronger man than I. That is like the most egregiously bullshit story ever. Like, genuinely, I don't believe a single fucking phrase uttered in that same breath. I don't think there's any world where that's actually true, but CoffeeZilla is still going to investigate it anyway.
I finally got a hold of him, and when I did,
it's true. No way.
Hostage, but he says the reason for it was nothing like what Logan said.
What?
Never paid me anything at all, ever. I never paid. And we got to a point when I was working on it where I just realized they were just going to try to steal all of my work on TV. So I took all of the source code private, 30 units. I'm earning $50,000 a week on building this thing.
What? Building what? You take a picture and you have your stock photos that you mash together to make a new picture when it hatches. Where is $50,000 a week going? Where? How? Holy shit, this is outrageous. But I am beyond shocked that this is at least a half truth. So the guy did flee to Switzerland after holding the code hostage, but it was because Logan didn't pay him or the team. So he was telling a half-truth on the situation. I can't believe any part of it was true. That is already quite the twist for me.
According to him, they negotiated a $1 million payday for this whole project. And from the second I heard that, oh, that's interesting because Logan claims he spent $1 million on this whole thing. And this developer saying he's owed $1 million on this.
We've been paid nothing. I would have loved to have Zoo, but I don't have it.
So that's multiple sources working on the CryptoZoo team project who were not paid. Now, obviously, these are big accusations, which is why I wanted to confront Logan Paul on them. But unfortunately, we're not exactly on speaking terms. So I wondered, how could I speak to Logan without speaking to Logan? Logan Paul's manager, a guy named Jeff Levin.
Oh, Jeff.
He might be just what we need to settle this whole thing. So I gave him a call.
Hello?
Hey, Jeff. Hey, sorry to bother you. This is Steven with CoffeeZilla. I'm calling because I've heard reports that CryptoZoo hasn't paid their development team, and I'm just reaching out for comment before I do this story. I just want to follow up on that.
I have no comment for it.
Okay,
Oh, well, fair enough.
Are you guys
Okay.
denying it, or are you saying it's not true?
Just no comment. I don't think that the information is true.
You guys have a whole side to
I know,
your
but
story here.
your job as someone that is reporting news is to actually verify correct news.
That's
Right, what I'm telling you.
I know, and that's legal grounds for that stuff. So I'm just telling you, legally, you have to report correct news with verifiable information.
Right, that's why I'm calling you.
As we've been advised always, is if anybody reports fake news, that's where we won't.
Then set the record straight. What? Is everyone around Logan just a fucking idiot? Like an actual bumbling buffoon? Huh? That is why he called you. You could have absolutely just, if it's not true, shut it down. Or tell him, yeah, it's not true. I wasn't aware of this. We can go ahead and get some material together to prove that it's all fake. Bang. Right then and there. You don't have to immediately tell CoffeeZilla all the evidence or anything. Just say like, hey, it's not true. If you can give us some time, we can get together all the material and send it your way to prove that they're being dishonest about the information. Simple. Jesus Christ, Logan, hire me as your manager. Jesus. Could have saved you a massive fucking headache if this is all fake. How can you be so dumb?
A mess. Jeff, Logan's manager, seems to be implying that I'm not allowed to repeat allegations his own development team made, even though Logan can go on podcasts and publicly accuse those developers of stealing his code. Not only that, he's the one who refuses to provide any evidence, but to sort of be implying that maybe we'll sue you if you tell this to anyone, which he then denies doing when I ask him. if that's what he's doing.
Told you I have no comment to it. Telling you once again, from a legal standpoint, you have to report truth. If you do not,
is this an NBC? Why does he keep saying this?
then you're just allegations, and those then will be handled the way that we want to handle it.
Okay. I understand you may have graduated Arizona State with a business degree, but holy shit, that is not being put to good use here, Jeff. You must have fallen ass backwards into this position. He is calling you so that way you can defend against the allegations. You don't have to do it right now on the phone call. Just say they're not true, and we will defend them. And here's our evidence. We can eventually get you our evidence. It is that simple. Like, it is that fucking simple. How dumb is this guy? Like, oh my God, he is calling you because he is trying to verify it as a trustworthy source. He wants the whole story. And how the fuck else is he supposed to verify it without talking to you, the team, the people behind it, the ones who now have the allegations? You are the only ones that can verify the authenticity of the claims. He can't go to the Better Business Bureau, who's somehow going to be having all the fucking answers to this. This guy is so dumb. He is so unbelievably dumb. And then making that like a sly little threat about it. He's Logan Paul's actual punching bag. He has to just keep Jeff around just to take all of the flack. That's got to be the only reason. He's like a little public spittoon for Logan Paul. Oh, what? No, I would have absolutely denied these things. Oh, that's just Jeff. Jeff, man, he's so fucking dumb. Yeah, no, oh my God, I can't believe that. What a silly guy.
I have no comment on the situation.
Mm-hmm. Good defense.
Your job legally is to report facts. If you don't report facts on the information you're given, it is illegal.
It's not. You can report allegations. That's the whole fucking point of an allegation. He's not saying it's the truth. He is saying they're allegations, and he wants to verify, are these allegations accurate or are they inaccurate? You absolutely talk about allegations.
Who is Eddie Ibanez?
It's a made-up name. That's a made-up name.
Hi, my name's Eddie Ibanez, lead developer here at CryptoZoo.
Oh,
This
never mind.
reporter said
Damn,
that
that was gonna be a
entire
crazy
story
plot twist.
is fake. Wait, what?
Shove some of that in there. In there too. Okay, cool. Okay. Let's take a look, shall we? My God, how much junk do I have? Art at the Sea. I have some pretty, like, rare exclusive stuff. I don't know. That's fine. I just don't want to lose these. As long as I have this, it's fine. Oh, I need torches. Oh wait, they're in my hand. Okay. 40 I think is enough. Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. Now we gotta go to the Nether. And oh, my broom is gonna break soon, but I do have a backup one, I think. Let me see. I think I put it away somewhere. Yeah, I have backup broom brushes, so should be no problem. I don't know if I'm using the enchanted one. Let's see. Enhanced, I mean? Oh, wait. Actually, wait. I don't think I'm using the enhanced one, actually. Oh, unbreaking and mending. I never got I never got mending. Ooh, what's soulbound? Wait, can I enhance broom brush? How do I make that enhanced? wet. Mandrake. Oh. Oh, I see. I think I have the ingredients. Let me just see. One sec. Okay. So I need to get. Don't say what. Belladonna flowers. Okay, belladonna flower. Belladonna berries. 1. 2 mandrake root. Oh, I only have 1. Hold up. Now I have 2. Is this the order? Oh shit. Oh, it's down here. Belladonna flower, belladonna berries, mugwort flower, yellow dock flower. Mugwort flower, yellow dock flower. Okay. The bottom one is mandrake flowers. Okay. Lastly, I just need to fill it up with water. Wait. Ow! Okay, I think it's 1 more bucket of water. And then take out a little bit. Right? Yes! And then flush dump out. You know, I had to figure out really last minute how to do the water leveling because I didn't know you needed a potion or a water bottle for this. And I just need to put it in the drying rack. There we go. Okay, cool. I wish you knew how dumb I was because, like, when I was trying to measure out the water, I was like, how do I get it so that only a little bit comes out? So I googled, like, I tried to Google, like, Minecraft, water measure or something. Like, I don't know what I was looking up. I was, like, trying to look up, like, something to measure the water. And I was like, what am I doing? This sounds completely wrong. Like, I don't think this is correct. So, it's atrocious. Okay. I need to start enhancing my thingy. This thing. Okay, so now we need the quartz. I gotta make a trip to the nether. Okay. Also, I really want to get rid of this golden lasso. Like, I think the golden lasso just keeps, like, reappearing in my inventory and it's annoying me. Okay, what are we flying with? I guess we're flying around my broom. Or I could fly. Well, where the hell did Fuga go? What the hell? Come back. Following. Good thing we have the summoning stick, guys. I wrote it before the mine. Oh yeah! I forgot. Okay. Maybe I'll bring her to the nether, maybe? Oh no, 2 of them! I'll just go to sleep. Mm,